Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Resurrection of Spiritual Energy, Staying in a God-Level Nursing Home at the Beginning. Chapter 51. Some people present could not help but feel moved by Ji Boxiao's proposal. But there is still a problem. There are still 16 people left. Which ones should be eliminated first? No one wants to be eliminated. Especially those who are weaker in the team are looking at the people around them warily at this time. Finally someone asked this question. That's what I say, but who is the irrelevant person? Everyone present is not stupid, and no one wants to be a gunman. The person who spoke was very rude. When Ji Boxiao said this, he obviously wanted to target some people. The people present did not want to be Ji Boxiao's thugs. Seeing that these people chose to watch with cold eyes, Ji Boxiao knew that they had all misunderstood. Everyone has misunderstood. That's not what I meant. There is an F-level trash mixed in among us. I want to get rid of him first. Think about it. What if in the end, an F-level trash among us is allowed in? If I get into the top 10 or even get a better ranking, it would be embarrassing for everyone, right? When Ji Boxiao said this, everyone looked at Lin Xiao. Everyone now understands Lin Xiao's situation. After all, he is the only one in this assessment who is below level B. Many people originally thought that Lin Xiao would be eliminated soon, but they did not expect that Lin Xiao would survive to this point. They also had to admit that what Ji Boxiao said made some sense. If Lin Xiao entered the top 10 in the end, they would be really embarrassed. Wouldn't others say that they are not even as good as an F-level awakener? Lin Xiao. Ji Boxiao is really not a thing this time, and he is very insidious. He can attract everyone's hatred to him with just a few words. Naturally, he will not sit still and wait for death. He's not afraid, but it's always uncomfortable when so many people care about him at the same time. Everyone, don't be misled by this guy. Think about it, there are hundreds of people who have been eliminated now. Who has an awakened power level that is not higher than mine? It's already this time, why do you care about being embarrassed or not? Everyone don't be provoked by this guy. Ji Boxiao, if you were a man and challenged me to a duel, wouldn't you be afraid of me, a little trash who has only awakened F level? If so, wouldn't you be worse than trash? Quote. Lin Xiao's words made many people wake up. He was almost deceived by Ji Boxiao. What Lin Xiao said was absolutely right. If it was embarrassing, it would have been lost long ago. If Lin Xiao really had no ability at all, it would be impossible for him not to be eliminated until now. Everyone has seen Lin Xiao's performance before. With so many spiritual beasts chasing after him, he still ran at the front while carrying someone on his back. That speed, that explosive power, even if it is only an F-level ability that is awakened, it will not be easy to solve it. For a moment, those who reacted looked at Ji Boxiao with a hint of evil in their eyes. Ji Boxiao didn't expect that he would be self-defeating, and Lin Xiao resolved the crisis in just a few words. And it seems that someone is still thinking about him. Lin Xiao is right, Ji Boxiao, don't you look down on Lin Xiao. Now that Lin Xiao wants to challenge you, you can't be a coward. That's it, can you do it? You're not a thin dog, are you? I'm optimistic about you, Master Ji. Eliminate this guy quickly. The people around them were just watching the excitement and did not take it too seriously. If Lin Xiao and Ji Boxiao really fight, no matter who wins or loses, one of them will be eliminated, which will benefit them all without any harm. Looking at the people around him, Ji Boxiao fell silent. He was now a little unsure about Lin Xiao's strength. He was confident that he could deal with Lin Xiao, but the people around him were watching him eagerly, so he couldn't stand out. He doesn't like the rewards of this assessment, but he will get into the top 10 no matter what. This is related to the assessment of whether he can become the next leader of the Ji family. Thinking of this, Ji Boxiao snorted coldly. Lin Xiao, considering that we are both number 1 middle school students, I decided to let you go for the time being. There were boos all around. He was the one who started the trouble before, but now he is the one giving in. Do you really think everyone is a fool? Lin Xiao even gave Ji Boxiao no face at all. Why are you talking so high-sounding? You really are setting up a memorial arch. You are pretending to be a memorial arch. If you are a man, just come out and challenge me. If you don't dare, stop beeping. Ji Boxiao was extremely angry. He really wanted to teach Lin Xiao a lesson, but at this time, he could only endure it. This assessment is really important to him. Ji Boxiao didn't say anything, but Lu Ruyan, who was beside him, couldn't stand it anymore and stood up directly. Lin Xiao, what do you mean? Brother Bo Xiao doesn't fight with you because it's for your own good. Don't be disrespectful. Lin Xiao felt sick when he saw Lu Ruyan now, and he didn't even bother to talk nonsense to her. When Lu Ruyan saw that Lin Xiao was silent, a smile immediately appeared on his face. She thought Lin Xiao was still interested in her, and her previous behavior was all to attract his attention, but now she couldn't pretend anymore. Lin Xiao, you are voluntarily quitting now. Considering our past friendship, Bo Xiao and I can still help you in your future life. The money we gave you before can be regarded as a gift to you. Lin Xiao spat hard on the ground. This thing is really disgusting. You opened the door to disgust. It's so disgusting. Where did this silly woman get her confidence? At this time, you are still self-centered. What else do you call the money you gave him before? Just treat it as a gift to him. It belongs to you. Lu Ruyan's face turned ugly again. Ji Boxiao looked at Lu Ruyan and had an idea. Ruyan, go and eliminate this guy. It's really not convenient for me to take action. You should know the importance of this assessment to me. You are different. Even if you can't make the top 10, I will help you. Get the spirit beads ready. Lu Ruyan was stunned for a moment. She really didn't expect that Ji Boxiao would let her take action. Ji Boxiao was forced to have no choice. There were still a few people who followed him before, but those people no longer listened to him at this time and completely turned a blind eye to his several glances. He couldn't take action, now he could only let Lu Ruyan take action. Lu Ruyan is an A-level fire awakener, so there should be no big problem in dealing with Lin Xiao. After a brief daze, Lu Ruyan decided to take action. Lin Xiao's existence had always been a thorn in Ji Boxiao's heart. Taking action at this time could show his attitude. It can be regarded as a complete farewell to his past. No matter how handsome Lin Xiao is, he is just an F-level trash. And she is destined to become a master. So Lin Xiao can only be sorry. Lin Xiao, you asked for this, don't blame me, let me eliminate you with my own hands. Lin Xiao looked at Lu Ruyan, who felt good about herself, speechlessly. Who gave her the courage? Liang Jingru. And Ji Boxiao really had no shame at all. He didn't take action himself, but let a girl take action. It's really too despising. He didn't feel anything about Lu Ruyan now. He could not wait to deal with such a scumbag. Lu Ruyan's words also aroused interest in everyone present. Everyone had a look on their face, especially some students from the number 1 middle school who were present and directly spoke out about the love and hatred between the three of them. This makes those who don't know look surprised. What kind of fairy script is this? The scumbag abandons her sweetheart and falls into the arms of a rich second generation. Now she wants to take action against her sweetheart. It's really exciting to think about it. Suddenly, the originally tense atmosphere miraculously relaxed. Shen Yao came to Lin Xiao at this time. The other party is a woman. Isn't it difficult for you to take action? Otherwise, you owe me a favor and I will help you deal with her. Lin Xiao looked at Shen Yao in surprise. He did not expect that Shen Yao would still want to help him at this time. Forget it, I'll do it myself. Things like this can be solved in minutes. Lin Xiao would naturally not let Shen Yao take action, not to take action against women. He had no such habit. He didn't want to miss this opportunity to teach the scumbag a lesson in person, and Shen Yao said that he owed her a favor. Just kidding, this is the hardest favor to repay. It's not worth it for such a woman. Zhou Ji knew Lin Xiao's strength, so he was not worried about Lin Xiao at all. He has even started to cheer for Lin Xiao. Brother Xiao, don't think about loving her at this time. Beat her hard. Even if I want to be compassionate and cherish the jade, I have to be fragrant and jade. Is she worthy? Lu Ruyan was ridiculed by Lin Xiao and couldn't bear it anymore. A fireball appeared in each of her hands, and without even saying hello to Lin Xiao, she threw it directly at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao's attention had always been on Lu Ruyan. The first-level fireball technique, in his opinion, was incredibly slow. If such a spiritual skill could hit him, his training these days would be in vain. What's more, now that there is no weight on his body, it is really easy to deal with Lu Ruyan. Seeing that the fireball was getting closer and closer to him, Lin Xiao advanced instead of retreating and rushed towards the fireball. Lin Xiao's operation made the onlookers confused. What's going on? Is this guy looking for death? I originally thought that for an F-level person to reach this point, he must have some skills. It seems that he is highly regarded. Lu Ruyan also had a joking smile on her face. As expected, garbage is garbage, and he actually took the initiative to meet his own spiritual skills. However, the smile on Lu Ruyan's face soon froze, because Lin Xiao, like a butterfly walking through flowers, only turned sideways slightly to avoid her fireball technique. By the time she reacted, Lin Xiao was already in front of her. The speed was ridiculously fast, giving her no time to react. Lu Ruyan is a fire-type awakener and a long-range mage. Although Lin Xiao has rubbish superpowers, after this period of training, he can be regarded as a melee fighter. The fate of the mage who was attacked in close combat was already doomed. Lin Xiao was not polite to Lu Ruyan at all, and there were two big competitions when he went up. This time he reserved his strength, otherwise with his current hand strength, he might be able to send Lu Ruyan away directly. But even so, Lu Ruyan's face immediately swelled up, and blood flowed from the corners of her mouth. Lin Xiao, you. Before Lu Ruyan finished speaking, Lin Xiao grabbed Lu Ruyan's neck and lifted her up. You are so noisy. Your vision is really bad. You have been abused like this, and your boyfriend doesn't seem to have any intention of taking action. Lu Ruyan felt that she was having difficulty breathing at this time. After hearing Lin Xiao's words, she couldn't help but look in the direction of Ji Boxiao. Seeing Ji Boxiao's evasive eyes, she began to reflect for the first time whether her decision was right. Feeling that the time was almost up, Lin Xiao threw Lu Ruyan to the ground. He didn't want to really cause a death. You have already lost and have been eliminated. If you continue to make trouble, don't blame me for being rude. Lu Ruyan didn't dare to take action at this time. She coughed violently a few times, and then looked at Ji Boxiao with a sad face. Ji Boxiao knew that he was in the wrong, and hurriedly comforted him. Ruyan, I think you can understand why I didn't take action. After this assessment is over, I will definitely compensate you, and I will not let this guy go. Lu Ruyan opened her mouth, but in the end she said nothing. She knew the importance of this assessment to Ji Boxiao, but as a woman, Ji Boxiao's performance still disappointed her. At this time, she even thought that if she had not given up Lin Xiao, facing such a situation, Lin Xiao would definitely fight to protect her. No. Lin Xiao would not push her out at all. At this time, a man appeared beside Lu Ruyan. He glanced at Lu Ruyan lightly. You have been eliminated, leave with me. Lu Ruyan did not refute, and was silently taken away by the man. At this time, the people around also reacted and looked at Lin Xiao with disbelief. They were all deeply afraid of Lin Xiao's combat power. How could this be an F-level awakener? Even if it was them, they would not be Lin Xiao's opponent. After Lin Xiao dealt with Lu Ruyan, he had no intention of looking for trouble with Ji Boxiao. He just looked at him with disdain and said, nothing. It's not that Lin Xiao didn't want to take the opportunity to eliminate Ji Boxiao. After all, he originally wanted to snipe Ji Boxiao and prevent him from entering the top 10. But for some reason, his uneasiness became stronger, and he always felt that something was going to happen. Therefore, he did not choose to attack Ji Boxiao. After Lin Xiao returned to Shenyao and Zhouji, he immediately said to them, be careful, I still feel something is wrong here. Both of them nodded. It was indeed a bit weird here. After the battle between Lin Xiao and Lu Ruyan ended, the atmosphere on the scene became tense again. Most people began to be wary of each other again. Everyone's points were almost the same, and they could change at any time. No one wanted to be eliminated now. And in a place where no one noticed, in a shadow, a pair of eyes were watching here. It quickly selected a target. These humans dared to break into his territory. It's time for them to see how terrible they are. Li Ding was one of the remaining 15 people. His attention was completely on the competitors around him. He didn't notice that a strange figure appeared in his shadow. Others only felt that a wolf's shadow suddenly appeared in Li Ding's shadow and pounced on him without any preparation. This attack was so sudden that Li Ding didn't have a chance to react. Even the people who were responsible for protecting him secretly didn't expect that such a spirit beast would appear here. The wolf-shaped spirit beast bit Li Ding's neck directly. Li Ding struggled twice and lost his life completely. Everyone finally saw the appearance of the wolf-shaped spirit beast at this time. It was a giant wolf as black as ink. Soon someone recognized that it was a shadow spirit beast, the shadow wolf. Judging from the spiritual power displayed by the other party, it was still a second-level spirit beast. The appearance of the shadow wolf was beyond everyone's expectations. The scene was very chaotic. The people present for the assessment were all students from Zuncheng High School. This assessment could be said to be their first real encounter with a spiritual beast. This is naturally the first time I have seen such a bloody scene. Suddenly, many people could not help but vomit. Lin Xiao also felt nauseous. For the first time, he felt the danger of this world. A good life disappeared from his side without any warning. Zhou Wei was very annoyed at this time. He had actually noticed something unusual before. The group of spirit beasts deliberately avoided this direction, which made him wary. He also informed others to cheer up those responsible for protection. But he didn't expect that in this first-level secret realm, a second-level shadow spiritual beast would appear. Whether it is a monster or a human, shadow-type abilities are extremely rare and extremely dangerous. Secretary Zhang came directly to Zhou Wei. City Lord, this is my fault. It is my responsibility to eliminate the second-level spirit beasts in the secret realm. I did not expect that such a fish slipped through the net. I will notify him immediately and let the people inside kill this guy. I don't blame you for this. Although the shadow-type spiritual beasts are only second level, you can't find them if you deliberately try to hide them. Zhou Wei originally planned to let the masters in the secret realm kill the shadow wolf at this time, but looking at the scene inside, he suddenly had a new idea. Xiao Zhang, pick up Wang Qing for me. Xiao Zhang contacted him immediately, and it didn't take long for him to contact Wang Qing. City Lord, it was my mistake this time. I didn't discover the existence of the shadow. By the time I discovered the fluctuation in spiritual power, it was already too late. Please deal with it. After hearing Wang Qing's words, Zhou Wei immediately spoke. I'm not looking for you to accuse me. The appearance of this shadow wolf is an accident. Casualties have occasionally occurred in past assessments. This is inevitable. I'm looking for you to tell you that I will protect these things well. Miao Zi in Zuncheng, please don't let any more deaths happen, and don't touch the shadow wolf for the time being, let these students solve it on their own. Zhou Wei's words stunned Wang Qing, who was in the deep secret realm. He didn't expect Zhou Wei to be so bold and let these students deal with the shadow wolves themselves. He soon understood Zhou Wei's good intentions. Now that we know the city lord, we will be responsible for protecting these students. Sun Ziyuan and Mirong Yu were also in the secret realm at this time, but they were a little late from here. Otherwise, with their cultivation, it would be impossible for the shadow wolf to succeed in a sneak attack. Because the distance was too far, they could not feel the shadow wolf's spiritual energy fluctuations in time, otherwise it would be impossible for a mere shadow-type spiritual beast to escape their eyes. Sun Ziyuan sighed. What a pity, there are still casualties after all. There's nothing we can do about it. The two of them didn't have much mood swings. It wasn't that they were cold-blooded, but they had seen too many such scenes. Although a good seedling was sacrificed, those who have not yet been eliminated can truly see the horror of spiritual beasts. Let's go there too, at least we can't let this happen again. Because the incident happened suddenly, the scene was directly broadcast live. Most of the people watching the live broadcast were ordinary people. They had never seen such a scene before, and the barrage stopped briefly. So are spiritual beasts so scary? You must know that this is only a first-level secret realm. God knows how terrifying the spiritual beasts in high-level secret realms are. I'm so lucky to live in such a powerful country. I heard that Turan beasts are rampant in many places abroad. I hope there will be no more casualties. These are the flowers of the motherland. Shadow Wolf did not leave immediately after killing Li Ding. Instead, like a king, it looked at the people in front of it with disdain. It did not continue to attack, and it also felt the presence of danger. After Wang Qing and others appeared, it immediately chose to hide in the shadows. The appearance of Wang Qing made the students seem to have found a backbone, and each one of them looked at Wang Qing with hopeful eyes. Wang Qing looked at Li Ding's body, a trace of sadness flashed in his heart, and said to the people behind him, "Place his body, and when he gets out, make proper arrangements for his funeral, and take care of his family." Good. After making these arrangements, Wang Qing turned his attention to other students. "Look at how hopeless you all are. Didn't you just die one person? Are you scared like this? When you came in, you all signed a life and death certificate. The moment you came in, you had to do your best. Preparation for death. Now I will give you a chance to quit. If you are afraid, just choose to give up now. After you give up, don't think about your own powers. Just be a normal person. Otherwise, you will die sooner or later. In the hands of the spirit beast." Did anyone abstain? Wang Qing said what he said, so naturally no one would choose to abstain. Although a few people are still very scared, they still choose to continue. Okay, it's not too cowardly. Now let me announce the content of the next assessment. Because of the appearance of the shadow wolf, there are some surprises in the assessment. Your next main task is to kill the shadow wolf and finally kill the shadow. Those who are wolves can directly get 200 points. Hearing Wang Qing's words, Lin Xiao's eyes immediately lit up. 200 points is a lot. If you can successfully kill the shadow wolf, you will directly become the number one in the end. Won't you get the small amount of money? Unlike Lin Xiao, many people were not thinking about points at this time, but whether they could save their own lives. Chu Ran raised his hand and spoke after getting Wang Qing's nod. "Examiner, I have a question. If I read it correctly, the spirit beast just now should be a second-level spirit beast, right? Do you think we are really its opponents? Although I am not afraid, I can't be meaningless. If it dies here and the opponent is a shadow type, I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to find it." Wang Qing looked at Chu Ran with satisfaction. "This little guy is not stupid. We have naturally considered the problem you mentioned. Although the shadow system is more difficult to deal with, the opponent's level is still too low. We can still lock it. We will control it in this area, and I can also let me tell you directly, from now on, each of you will be protected, so there is no need to worry about your life safety. Your next task is to find the shadow wolf and kill it. The moment you kill the shadow wolf, this time the assessment is over, and there is not much time left for you." Quote. Wang Qing's words reassured the remaining students. As long as it's not life-threatening, everyone's minds also began to become active. That's 200 points, enough to change a lot of things. The difference between the number 1 Shen Yao and the last place is only 200 points. Whoever can kill the shadow wolf will be the first. I don't know if it senses danger, but shadow wolf doesn't intend to stay here anymore. It wants to leave here, because there are too many auras here that make it feel dangerous. It is a shadow type. Even if these auras make it feel extremely dangerous, it still believes that it can leave. When the secret realm was cleared before, it cleverly avoided it. It's a pity that the strong men who entered the secret realm this time are not on the same level as those who were cleared before. What's more, there are two super strong men, Sun Ziyuan and Marong Yu. At this time, Sun Ziyuan appeared on the only way for the shadow wolf to escape. "You evil beast, if you still want to run away, get back here." The two of them already knew what Zhou Wei meant. Now the shadow wolf was the whetstone for those students who had not yet been eliminated. They had no objection to this. They just took this opportunity to train these little guys. And this time, with the two of them nearby, there won't be any surprises. Shadow Wolf sensed an extremely dangerous aura from Sun Ziyuan, and knew he was no match, so he fled in another direction. Unfortunately, no matter how it escaped, Sun Ziyuan stood in its way. Shadow Wolf gradually discovered this. As long as it stayed within a certain range, Sun Ziyuan would not harm it. It doesn't know why this is happening, but from now on, it seems to be safe for the time being. On the other side, everyone who has not yet been eliminated gathered together. The main task now is to find the shadow wolf and kill it. All other things can be put aside temporarily. I believe everyone should know the current situation. Since the examiner said that the shadow wolf is in this area, then it must be in this area. Let's discuss how to find it and how to solve it. The shadow wolf is a second-level spiritual beast. If we act alone, we may not be able to match it. May I suggest that we all act in teams? I agree with forming a team, but if we all act together, it may not be that easy to find the shadow wolf. There are still 15 people. I suggest dividing them into 3 groups of 5 people each. When searching, everyone should not be too far away. As soon as one team finds the shadow wolf, the other 2 teams will immediately go to support. As soon as these words came out, everyone nodded, obviously agreeing with this point of view. If divided into 3 groups of 5 people, the search will be faster, and the target is the second-level shadow wolf. If the number is too small, it may not be able to withstand the attack of the shadow wolf, so a 5-person team is just right. The grouping was completed quickly. Chu Ran and Ji Boxiao immediately selected 4 stronger players from the original team to form a team. The remaining 2 people automatically entered Lin Xiao's team. Lin Xiao didn't have any objections to this. Anyway, he, Shen Yao and Zhou Ji must be in the same group. It didn't matter who the other 2 were. After the grouping was completed, the 3 groups began to search around. Shadow wolves are very good at hiding, but they are not completely invisible. Shadow-type abilities can be hidden in the shadows. If you are far away, it will be difficult to detect, but if you are close enough, you can still feel the weak spiritual power fluctuations. The person who was responsible for protection before was just because he didn't expect that there would be a shadow spiritual beast here. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for the shadow wolf to successfully attack in the past. Shadow wolf was very unhappy now. He was hiding in a shadow and silently observing these people. Apart from the 15 people in front of him, there were too many hidden auras that made him fearful. This made it very uneasy, but it also aroused its ferocity. It would not foolishly seek death for those it could not handle, so it focused on one of the 5-man teams. This team is exactly the team led by Ji Boxiao. Ji Boxiao was very careful at this time, not only observing the shadows around him, but also paying attention to their shadows, for fear that the shadow wolf would suddenly pop out and attack them. Everyone should brace themselves. Once the shadow wolves are discovered, they will immediately move closer and wait for support from the other 2 teams. Ji Boxiao said this, but actually he was panicking in his heart. In fact, when Wang Qing said he could give up, he was a little moved. His status is so noble, if he encounters danger here, it is really not worth it. If he hadn't seen that no one chose to give up, he couldn't help but face it, and Wang Qing said he could guarantee their lives, he would have given up long ago. Now he only hopes that the shadow wolf will appear with the other 2 teams, so that he can reap the benefits. It is said that what people fear most will come. I wonder if it is because of Ji Boxiao's bad luck. The location where the shadow wolf is currently hiding is exactly where Ji Boxiao's team is searching. Mirong Yu and Sun Ziyuan were observing not far away. Zhou Wei had already greeted them, so it was left to them to protect these students. The 2 of them also agreed. With the 2 of them here, it would be strange if the shadow wolf could succeed. However, the 2 of them had no intention of sabotaging this assessment. They would only take action when the lives of these students were in danger. Mirong Yu will teleport the person away as soon as possible. Sun Ziyuan watched Ji Boxiao's team getting closer and closer to the shadow wolf, with a smile on his face. We're going to encounter it soon. Please be careful and don't let these children suffer any more casualties. Mirong Yu glanced lightly at a shadow. Under my nose, if it succeeds, I might as well kill it with a piece of tofu. Ji Boxiao and the other 5 were getting closer and closer to the shadow wolf, and the 5 of them soon discovered something was wrong. In the shadow in front of them, they felt faint spiritual power fluctuations, which indicated that the shadow wolf was here. But this also means that the shadow wolf is very close to them. Small. Before the person who was the first to feel the fluctuations in spiritual power had finished reminding him, the shadow wolf appeared directly in front of him, biting his neck with its mouth wide open. It's one thing to know that the shadow wolf is here, but it's another thing to avoid the shadow wolf's attack. The person being attacked wanted to dodge, but the shadow wolf was so fast that he had no time to react. Fortunately, due to their high concentration, several people had spiritual skills in their hands. Except for Ji Boxiao, the other 3 people immediately released the spiritual skills in their hands to save this person. So the question is, why didn't Ji Boxiao take action? When the shadow wolf appeared, he was a little frightened. When others took action, he ran away without looking back. This scene was captured directly by a drone. Ji Baxiao's ugly face was directly exposed in front of countless people. Mirong Yu did not take action because the shadow wolf, faced with so many spiritual attacks, still did not choose to resist. It changed its attack target. At this time, Ji Baxiao, who was fleeing, happened to be the best target. This guy is so useless. The shadow wolf suddenly appeared and everyone else took action. This guy abandoned his companions without hesitation. It was really embarrassing. This may be human instinct, but this is also the best way to see a person's nature. Although I am just an ordinary person, I am not ashamed of this kind of person. By the way, have you noticed that the shadow wolf seems to be rushing towards Ji Baxiao's direction? Just as the barrage said, the shadow wolf at this time had already rushed towards Ji Baxiao quickly. At this time, Lin Xiao and Chu Ran's team had discovered the existence of the shadow wolf, and they were all rushing here. However, since the distance is not close, it will take some time to get there. The other 4 people in Ji Baxiao's team had just released their spiritual skills and were unable to help Ji Baxiao. And Ji Baxiao's performance just now has completely hurt their hearts. Even if they can take action, they may not be willing. Ji Baxiao's escape was a completely subconscious reaction. He had always believed that he was more valuable than most of the people present. Although he knew that someone was protecting them now, he still didn't want to have any accidents. Even if he reacted at this time, he still didn't regret it. He even hoped that those 4 people would be eliminated. In that case, as long as one more person was eliminated, he would be firmly in the top 10. Unfortunately, his wishful thinking was wrong. When he discovered that the shadow wolf not only failed to eliminate the 4 people, but instead rushed towards him, he felt bad. Help me. The shadow wolf didn't care what Ji Baxiao thought, it just wanted to get rid of Ji Baxiao at this moment. At the critical moment, Ji Baxiao directly released the distress bomb, and a brilliant red light appeared in the sky, which also meant that he gave up the assessment. The shadow wolf was getting closer and closer to Ji Baxiao. What made Ji Baxiao uncomfortable was that even now, he hadn't seen any reinforcements. What about those who protect themselves? I can't die here. I want to become the head of the Ji family. At this moment, he was so frightened that he became incontinent. Just before the shadow wolf was about to bite his neck to pieces, his figure disappeared. Mirong Yu finally took action at the critical moment. Although Mirong Yu also despised Ji Baxiao from the bottom of his heart, he could not ignore death. When Ji Baxiao came to his senses, he found that he was safe and surrounded by students who had been eliminated. These students consciously stayed away from him. Although they were eliminated, they could still see the performance of those who had not yet been eliminated from the live broadcast. Ji Baxiao's performance made these students very shameless. Also, Ji Baxiao is so frightened that he has incontinence. The smell is so strong that no one wants to get close to him. There were people who were frightened to the point of incontinence before, but no one laughed at them, nor did they have the right to. But this time it was different. Most people looked at Ji Baxiao with a joking look on their faces. Ji Baxiao was deeply hurt by these looks. Why do you untouchables look at me like this? Everyone ignored Ji Baxiao at all. Now Ji Baxiao was just a mad dog. There was nothing to argue with him. Lu Ruyan was also in the crowd, and even she did not comfort Ji Baxiao this time. She was confused again. It is human nature to be greedy for life and afraid of death. This is understandable. If this was not a live broadcast, no one would care about Ji Baxiao. The key is that Ji Baxiao completely displayed his greed for life and fear of death in front of so many people, which is destined to be a lifelong shame for him. The shadow wolf was puzzled that it jumped into the air. It didn't understand why the meat in its mouth flew away. While it was stunned, Lin Xiao and others finally arrived and surrounded the shadow wolf. Lin Xiao did not expect that Ji Baxiao would be eliminated like this. I originally thought I would find a chance to eliminate him, but I didn't expect this guy to seek death on his own. In fact, if Ji Baxiao didn't leave his teammates behind, he could have waited until they came to support him. It was because of his escape alone that the shadow wolf targeted him. It's really your own fault. Forget it and save yourself a lot of trouble. Now is not the time to lament these things, the key is to deal with the shadow wolf in front of us. After looking at the situation at the scene, Chu Ran was the first to speak. The long-range ones start to output, and the melee profession protects the long-range ones to prevent sneak attacks from the shadow wolves. After Chu Ran finished speaking, he released a level 1 lightning strike with the lightning power. Others had no objections to this and began to release their powers one by one. Lin Xiao and Shen Yao were fighting in close combat. They did not advance rashly, but stood beside those who were far away to prevent accidents. The shadow wolf nimbly dodged those spiritual skills. It was so fast that none of the spiritual skills hit it. However, because there are many spiritual skills, the shadow wolf is somewhat embarrassed. The shadow wolf was a little annoyed. These people were obviously not as good as it, but they relied on the large number of people to make it so embarrassed. Thinking of this, it looked up to the sky and let out a roar. Ouch! At first, Lin Xiao and others didn't pay attention, thinking that the shadow wolf was just angry, until the sound of howling wolves continued to be heard from all directions. Ouch! Ouch! This guy is summoning his companions, kill him quickly. Everyone felt the seriousness of the matter. One shadow wolf made him feel very troublesome. If more came, they would be in danger. Let's fight quickly and see if we can solve it. Stop hiding your secrets. Everyone knows that if the shadow wolves cannot be eliminated before the wolves arrive, they may be basically declared eliminated. Suddenly, everyone worked hard. Lin Xiao and Shen Yao looked at each other and rushed towards the shadow wolf. Several other melee type ones also took the initiative to attack. A trace of human sneer flashed in the shadow wolf's eyes. Stupid humans, so naive. Sun Ziyuan and Mirong Yu were also a little surprised when they saw the wolves getting closer and closer. What should we do? Are we going to let these wolves in? Let it go. Why don't you let it go? It's no longer important whether you can kill the shadow wolf. What's important is to train these little guys. Don't you think this can have a better training effect? That's right. Let's see if these little guys can give us some surprises. Zhou Wei also made the same decision as the two of them, but also asked the two of them not to let these little guys suffer any more casualties. The two naturally agreed. With them here, there would be no more accidents. After the shadow wolf summoned the wolves, he did not fight with Lin Xiao and others at all, but just dodged. He wants to wait for his younger brother to arrive and then settle accounts with these guys. It feels good to beat yourself up, right? Let me show you what a real beating is. Lin Xiao was speechless. His speed was not slow, but compared with the second-level shadow wolf, it was still slightly lacking. That's all. From time to time, the shadow wolf will use shadow powers to hide in the shadows to avoid their encirclement. There is nothing that can be done about it in a short period of time. And at this moment, the wolves finally arrived. It was a group of Gale wolves. Although they were all first-level spiritual beasts, there were as many as 40 or 50 in number. Everyone's expressions were not very good. A second-level shadow wolf had already made them confused. Plus 40 or 50 wind wolves, how can we fight? Is it too late to just abstain now? The appearance of the Gale wolf pack gave everyone who had not yet been eliminated a headache. How can this be done? They don't know if they can handle a single shadow wolf. Now that there are so many wind wolves appearing all of a sudden, they really don't know how to deal with it. Of course, those present will not sit still. They must have resisted. Ji Boxiao's disappearance just now made everyone understand that there must be heavyweights protecting them secretly. When the spirit beasts attacked before, those students who they thought died in the spirit beasts were probably saved. Since there is no life-threatening danger, there is nothing to worry about. Just do it. Others didn't know what the method was, but Lin Xiao was very knowledgeable. It seems that Mirong Yu took action, Brother Mirong also took action, and Brother Sun must be nearby. There are 2 9th-level masters nearby, plus other masters. They can still let these spiritual beasts in. They must want to look what they are capable of. If they want to see it, just let them see it. Chu Ran immediately gathered everyone together, and now it is no longer suitable for everyone to separate. Only by gathering together can we have a chance of survival. You guys have also seen it. I think everyone should understand that the next battle will definitely be very difficult, but we can't give up. Everyone should have seen it. There are super strong people protecting us secretly. There will be no life-threatening danger, so what about the second-level shadow wolves, what about the Gale wolves, just kill them. Lin Xiao had a good impression of Chu Ran. This guy seemed to be born to be a leader. Several cooperations were led by Chu Ran, and Chu Ran also mentioned the key points. Now we really need everyone to cooperate well. Thinking of this, Lin Xiao also spoke. I believe everyone has no objections. It's the last moment. As for how many points everyone can get in the end, it depends on everyone's ability. The ugly words are ahead. Although everyone's life will not be in danger, I don't want Ji if something like Boxiao happens again, everyone must cooperate well this time. If anyone dares to give up on his teammates or attack those around him, then don't blame us for being rude to him. Quote. Lin Xiao's words were not very polite, but no one had any objections. At this time, we really need everyone to cooperate well, maybe we can get through the current difficulties. Seeing that everyone had no objections, Lin Xiao looked at Chu Ran again. Chu Ran, you are in charge this time. I'm not good at this. Chu Ran was not pretentious, and this was not the time to shirk. Moreover, the Gale Wolves were already approaching them, and it was time to respond. In this case, I will be disrespectful. All melee fighters will line up and stand at the front of the team. They must not let the Wind Wolves get close and attack our long range. Earth and other defense systems should prepare their own spiritual skills to defend the opponent. Remote output. Don't be afraid of wasting spiritual power on all remotes. Give me life-threatening output, and pay close attention to the situation of the Shadow Wolf to prevent it from making sneak attacks. Chu Ran's arrangements were in order, and no one had any objections, so they immediately began to deploy them. Lin Xiao and Shen Yao stood directly at the front of the team. Before the wolves attacked, Lin Xiao put on his hand and leggings again. Although it would increase his weight, it would greatly enhance his attack. There was nothing he could do about it. If he had a handy weapon, he wouldn't be like this. He didn't wear a weight-bearing vest. If he wore it again, it would increase his defense, but it would have a greater impact on his speed. Shen Yao was watching all this and now understood why Lin Xiao had taken off his clothes before. It turned out that he still had these things on his body. After the arrival of the Storm Wolves, the Shadow Wolves became more relaxed. It was not in a hurry to take action, and looked at Lin Xiao and others with eyes full of teasing. Ah! With the howl of the Shadow Wolf, the Wind Wolves seemed to have received an order and directly attacked everyone. Chu Ran had been waiting for this moment for a long time, and immediately let the remote control perform a round of output. Fireball, Wind Blade, lightning strikes keep falling. If it were a one-on-one challenge, it might be difficult for such a spiritual skill to hit the Gale Wolf, but who said there were too many Gale Wolves? It was so dense that even trying to miss it was a bit difficult. Several Wind Wolves were killed directly, and the one who killed the most was Chu Ran. Chu Ran is indeed the genius in Zuncheng, second only to Shen Yao, and the power of the thunder system is indeed not comparable to that of the fire and wind systems. The death of several Blast Wolves also inspired the ferocity of the Blast Wolves. Half of the Blast Wolves continued to attack, and the remaining half actually stopped and prepared to release their spiritual skills. Chu Ran's heart sank when he saw this. The thing he was most worried about appeared. Come on for melee combat, prepare for defense. Lin Xiao, Shen Yao and several animal transformation types rushed forward immediately. At this time, there were a total of 20 storm wolves rushing over. It was impossible to say that they were not frightened at all, but in this situation, they could only bite the bullet. Lin Xiao activated his spiritual skills immediately, and the speed of the Gale Wolf slowed down in his eyes. His brain was working rapidly, calculating the movement trajectory of the Storm Wolf. His body also began to move. He turned sideways to avoid the inevitable blow of a Storm Wolf. He then took 2 steps back to avoid the pursuit of another Storm Wolf. At the same time, he kicked a Storm Wolf on the head. Because of the blessing of the leggings, the Wind Wolf walked very peacefully. I don't know if he didn't expect Lin Xiao to kill their companions so quickly. The surrounding Gale Wolves were stunned for a moment. Lin Xiao took advantage of the stupefaction of the other Gale Wolves and killed another Gale Wolf. Perhaps sensing Lin Xiao's difficulty, 3 Wind Wolves immediately joined the battle to besiege Lin Xiao. The number of Wind Wolves besieging Lin Xiao suddenly increased to 8. Lin Xiao immediately felt a little stressed. Fortunately, although there were many Gale Wolves, he could still cope with them for the time being. This was all thanks to the devilish training Sun Ziyuan gave him. Compared with Sun Ziyuan's fists, the attacks of these wind wolves were still less interesting. While defending, Lin Xiao was still observing several other battles. Shen Yao's battle was even more violent. She brought the violent aesthetics of the power system to the extreme. She killed a wind wolf with one punch in the first moment, and then directly used the body of the wind wolf as a weapon and waved it in response. Other storm wolves. The wind wolves around her couldn't get close to her in a short time, but were chased by Shen Yao and retreated steadily. Shen Yao can still persist here, but the other melee systems are not so lucky. Although there were not as many melee wolves around him as there were in front of him and Shen Yao, they were not as perverted as Lin Xiao and Shen Yao. One storm wolf might be able to cope with it, but the other two would be beyond their range. If there are more than 3 heads, then there is nothing you can do. Soon, except for Lin Xiao and Shen Yao, all the other melee fighters were eliminated. These melee type ones were naturally teleported away by Murong Yu. The storm wolf didn't know why the enemies in front of him suddenly disappeared. They couldn't care less. Instead of attacking the long-range enemies, they began to besiege Lin Xiao and Shen Yao. The long-range attacks of the Gale Wolves also fell at this time. Although there was a turtle shell mage like Zhou, there were too many enemies, and with only one salvo, 2 people were eliminated again. Others were also somewhat embarrassed. For a moment, everyone fell into a hard fight. The most worrying thing is that the Shadow Wolf has not taken action yet. The battle on Shen Yao's side was fierce. Even if she was among the wolves, she did not have any fear. She kept chasing the Gale Wolves. If the Gale Wolves weren't fast enough, she might have been killed by her. Lin Xiao had to be much more cautious when fighting. The Gale Wolf kept attacking him, but there were not many attacks that could really hit Lin Xiao. If he really couldn't avoid it, Lin Xiao would use his hand and leggings to block it. If he couldn't block it, he would avoid the vital part. Naturally, he would not make the storm wolves feel better, and 2 more storm wolves were successfully killed by him. However, the number of wind wolves around him has not decreased. After all, the siege of several other melee systems has already resolved the battle and came to support this side. Lin Xiao felt a little stretched. The Gale Wolves directly surrounded him and made sneak attacks where he couldn't see. This increased the number of wounds on his body. If he hadn't been more sensitive to danger, he might have been teleported away by Murong Yu. Lin Xiao knew that this was not going to work. Looking at the battlefield, Zhou and Chu Ran could not count on them for the time being. The pressure they faced was no less than their own. Looking at Shen Yao who was chasing the Gale Wolf over there, Lin Xiao secretly sighed that these girls were real tigers. At this time, we can only cooperate with Shen Yao. Shen Yao, stop chasing me. The 2 of us cooperate, otherwise this won't be a problem. Shen Yao also stopped pursuing after hearing Lin Xiao's cry. She also discovered Lin Xiao's situation. If she continued, it would only be a matter of time before Lin Xiao would be eliminated. Although she was very afraid of Lin Xiao and believed that Lin Xiao was the biggest obstacle to her fight for first place, now was not the time to let Lin Xiao be eliminated. If Lin Xiao is eliminated, the number of enemies she will face will increase by at least half. With the Shadow Wolves eyeing her, it will only be a matter of time before she is eliminated. She didn't want to be eliminated like this. Even if she finished first in points, she wouldn't want to. She wants to kill the Shadow Wolf. Thinking of this, Shen Yao waved the wind wolves in her hand and approached Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao also took the opportunity to use his strength and moved closer to Shen Yao, and the 2 soon joined together. We're back to back, so that takes some of the pressure off. Shen Yao didn't have any objections to this. It was indeed a lot easier this way. Although it seemed like she was chasing the wind wolves before, she didn't actually kill many of them. On the contrary, it was Lin Xiao who had already killed them in a short time. After 6 or 7 babies, she was already feeling itchy. Okay, let's see who can kill more. Hearing Shen Yao's words, Lin Xiao also smiled. No problem, who's afraid of whom? You have to be careful, don't let me steal your first place. That's a bit difficult. Unless you can kill the Shadow Wolf or you eliminate me, otherwise, it may be difficult to get first place. The speaker is unintentional and the listener is intentional. Although Lin Xiao can't see the standings now, he doesn't think Shen Yao would say this without any basis. If you put it this way, Shen Yao may have many more points than herself now. It's really a headache. I don't want to give up the 2 million directly. Who would think that he has too much money? Shaking his head, he got rid of the unrealistic thoughts in his mind. Now is not the time to think about points. Let's get through the immediate crisis first. Shen Yao obviously thought so too, and the two of them directly attacked the Gale Wolf pack back to back. There is a competitive relationship between the two, but neither of them has any intention of stumbling upon the other. Soon the two of them were fighting against the Gale Wolves. Without worries, Lin Xiao could deal with the Gale Wolf in front with more peace of mind. Shen Yao completed her task perfectly. The Gale Wolf corpse in her hand danced without leakage, and she didn't let any attack fall on Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao didn't give in too much, and he didn't let any Gale Wolves pass him and cause harm to Shen Yao. At this time, large numbers may not be an advantage. Sometimes several storm wolves attack at the same time, which not only keeps the two of them busy, but also sometimes affects the actions of their companions due to improper coordination. Lin Xiao and Shen Yao discovered this quickly, and they were also good at seizing opportunities. He can always kill 1 or 2 storm wolves when it's time to take action. Under this circumstance, there were fewer and fewer wind wolves besieging them. Not long after, there were only single digits left among the storm wolves that besieged them. The reduction in the number of storm wolves also made the pressure on the two of them much lighter. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the two of them had time to observe the surrounding situation. You don't know this by looking at it, and you're shocked when you see it. At some point, only the two of them were left here. Whether it was Chu Ran or Zhou Ji, they were no longer here long ago. The two knew what this meant, which meant that except for the two of them, everyone else had been eliminated. This was indeed the case. While he and Shen Yao were concentrating on fighting, Chu Ran also started fighting with the remaining Gale Wolves. At the beginning, it was just long-range mutual attacks. After both sides lost numbers, the Storm Wolf changed its strategy. Some continued to attack, while others ignored Lin Xiao and Shen Yao and rushed directly to Chu Ran and others. The result is self-evident. Chu Ran and others, who were already somewhat unable to hold on, were immediately deemed eliminated. When Zhou Ji was eliminated, he originally wanted to call Lin Xiao for support, but when he saw Lin Xiao and Shen Yao being besieged, he finally gave up. Forget it, if you can persist until now, it's enough. Just let yourself be eliminated quietly. Chu Ran used his thunder power and persisted the longest, but in the face of the pursuit of several wind wolves, he could only suffer in the end. After eliminating Chu Ran and others, the only ones who have not yet been eliminated are Lin Xiao and Shen Yao. Shen Yao obviously discovered this situation at this time. She turned her back to Lin Xiao and smiled bitterly as she looked at more and more storm wolves around her. Oh, there are only 2 of us left. What are you going to do next? Should you just give up, or give it a try? Lin Xiao breathed out gently. I still want to fight for the first place, so it's impossible for me to give up. Of course, if you want to give up, can you give me your head? Shen Yao's shocked face carrot back quote, oh. What good thing are you thinking of? It's impossible to kill you. In that case, let's go crazy for a while. I also want to see how far I can go. Lin Xiao was noncommittal. There were still 20 wind wolves left, and it would not be easy to clean them up. The shadow wolves on the side were still watching with cold eyes. Fortunately, they had no intention of taking action for the time being. But Lin Xiao would not ignore him, and it was probably this guy who gave them the final blow. But, so what? It's already this time. If I don't try my best, I'd be really sorry for myself. Now I should be firmly in the top 10, but there is a difference of 1.5 million between the rewards for 2nd to 9th place and the 1st place. For a small amount of money, let yourself go completely crazy. The final battle was naturally broadcast live. The live broadcast room was extremely quiet at this time, with almost no one posting comments. It's not that the number of people watching is small, it's that they are afraid of missing some wonderful moments while typing. At this time, not only ordinary people are watching the live broadcast, some admissions directors from Lingwu College have also begun to pay attention to this place. Many people in charge have even begun to use their connections to investigate information about people who performed relatively well in this assessment. Soon these people in charge got the information from the students. It's not a secret, it's not hard to find, and the information can be found in the student's file. At this time, most of the people in charge were looking at Lin Xiao's information in confusion. Shen Yao's performance was as expected. After all, the information stated that she was the only SS-level awakened person in Zuncheng. But how to explain this, Lin Xiao? An F-level power is still a non-combat power. Why do you insist on it until now? Also, his position in the standings is second only to Shen Yao. This kid is no ordinary guy either. They also saw Lin Xiao's battle. Their evaluation of Lin Xiao was that he had excellent physical fitness, but that was all. After a brief thought, several admissions officers decided to give up on Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao's physical fitness is much better than that of ordinary students, but so what? Some real monsters can still contend with it, and that's just physical strength. After all, Lin Xiao's superpowers are too crotch-stretching, so he can't compare with those geniuses. No, Lin Xiao's abilities can even be said to be the worst in this assessment. Strong physical fitness can only mean a short time. When the level rises in the future, the gap between Lin Xiao and those people will be reflected. Rather than recruiting such a student, it is better to give the opportunity to others. Lin Xiao didn't know that he had been rejected by the admissions directors of major Lingwu universities. Even if he knew, he wouldn't take it seriously. He had no plans to go to any of the major Lingwu colleges and universities. Now he just wanted to stay in the Red Sun nursing home and be a rice bug with peace of mind. The battle between Lin Xiao, Shen Yao and the Gale Wolf Pack has reached a fever pitch. The combat power of the two of them is considered very strong for the same level, but facing the wheel battle of the Storm Wolf, it is a bit difficult at this time. They also had more or less wounds on their bodies. Fortunately, the number of Storm Wolves is getting smaller and smaller. With the efforts of the two of them, the number of Storm Wolves has finally dropped to single digits again. This also reduced their pressure a lot. Shen Yao, it's time. Let's deal with them quickly and save some energy. The real war hasn't started yet. Shen Yao naturally knew what Lin Xiao meant. From the beginning to the end, neither of them relaxed their attention to the Shadow Wolf. The Shadow Wolf has always been very leisurely, never intending to take action, nor hiding in the shadows. It just silently watched its little brother die, but its eyes flashed with bloodthirsty light from time to time. The reason why it hasn't taken action yet is that it feels it's not the time to take action yet. Let his little brother wear down these two people first, and when their physical and spiritual power are almost restored, it will be the time for it to take action. The number of Storm Wolves was already in single digits, so Lin Xiao and Shen Yao no longer had to go back to back. This time the two began to take the initiative. The remaining Gale Wolves were indeed no match for the two of them. It only took a while for the remaining Gale Wolves to be eliminated by the two of them. The fighting prowess of Lin Xiao and Shen Yao once again surprised those who followed this assessment. Even Sun Ziyuan and Merong Yu nodded repeatedly. 40 or 50 Wind Wolves are basically invincible in the first-level secret realm. But now the group was wiped out. Although Chu Ran and others also eliminated some, with so many people, only a dozen of them were killed in the end, basically 1 for 1. The remaining 30 or so were all solved by Lin Xiao and Shen Yao, so people had to take a high look at these two people. At this time, Lin Xiao and Shen Yao were also panting heavily. Killing so many Storm Wolves was impossible without any cost. Both of them had injuries more or less on their bodies, their physical exertion was huge, and they didn't have much spiritual energy left in their bodies. This is what the Shadow Wolf was waiting for. When Shen Yao killed the last Wind Wolf, it finally couldn't help it anymore and rushed towards Shen Yao. Shen Yao was a little helpless. She had always been paying attention to the Shadow Wolf, but the Shadow Wolf's timing was so good. Just now he killed the last Wind Wolf. At this time, the old strength had been exhausted and the new strength had not yet been regenerated. There was no way he could use his hands to resist the attack of the Shadow Wolf. Is it going to be eliminated like this? Merong Yu and Sun Ziyuan were paying close attention to the situation here. If Shen Yao was in danger, Merong Yu would take action as soon as possible. But at this time, they focused more on Lin Xiao. Shen Yao is actually the granddaughter of an old man in their nursing home. This time, in addition to participating in the normal assessment, she also has a task, which is to test Lin Xiao's character. Who knew that the appearance of the Shadow Wolf disrupted their plan, and now this situation is even better than the test they set. Next, It depends on Lin Xiao's performance. Although this is an assessment, Shen Yao's life will not be in danger. Lin Xiao can choose not to help, but if Lin Xiao does nothing at this time, Lin Xiao's character can be seen from one aspect. In that case, Lin Xiao would no longer be qualified to stay in the nursing home. If you want to live in a nursing home, your cultivation level may not be high, but your character must be excellent. Lin Xiao defeated the Gale Wolf before Shen Yao, and was not far away from Shen Yao at this time. He rushed towards Shen Yao without any hesitation. At the critical moment, he pushed Shen Yao away directly. He also took advantage of the situation and rolled like a donkey to avoid the attack of the Shadow Wolf. This made Shadow Wolf very unhappy. He didn't expect that his inevitable blow would be destroyed by this kid. Shen Yao was pushed away by Lin Xiao and looked at Lin Xiao with some surprise. I didn't expect that you would choose to save me at this time. I thought you would eliminate me. Lin Xiao touched his nose. He really didn't think much about it at the time and forgot that this was an assessment. He just did it subconsciously. He really couldn't do anything without saving his life. After reacting at this time, I was a little lucky that I saved Shen Yao. There is still a gap between him and Shen Yao in points. If Shen Yao is eliminated like this, he will not close the gap with Shen Yao. Secondly, he himself may not be the opponent of Shadow Wolf. After Shen Yao is eliminated, he will most likely be eliminated as well, so his points will still not be able to catch up with Shen Yao. That means he is not first, and not being first means that he will not get the first place bonus. This is something he absolutely cannot accept. Unexpectedly, my subconscious behavior left me with the hope of being number one. TCH, am I that kind of person? I'm just afraid that you will be eliminated and my number one spot will be gone. Also, now is not the time to reminisce about old times. Let's get through the current crisis first. Shen Yao looked at Lin Xiao in surprise. She didn't expect Lin Xiao to speak so calmly. There is no pretense whatsoever. What an interesting person. Now was indeed not the time for the two of them to chat. The Shadow Wolf, which had missed a single hit, quickly pounced on them. This time its attack target was Shen Yao. Shen Yao had almost been successfully attacked by a sneak attack just now. She was also holding back her anger and had nowhere to vent it. The Shadow Wolf came to her door. Strength increase. Mountain breaking power. Shen Yao immediately released her 2 power increasing spiritual skills. Strength amplification. Lin Xiao knew that this was a spiritual skill that came with the first level of the awakened power system. This mountain breaking power was a spiritual skill that Shen Yao obtained by absorbing the spirit beads. Shen Yao's family background is probably not simple. Those who can absorb the spirit beads at this time at least have a little money in their family. Lin Xiao was very close to Shen Yao and could clearly see that after using spiritual skills, Shen Yao's arms were obviously thicker than before. Shadow Wolf and Shen Yao collided directly. The Shadow Wolf probably didn't expect that Shen Yao would dare to confront it head-on, so it didn't choose to dodge. Just kidding, even though it knows the shadow system, it is still a spiritual beast after all. In terms of strength competition, can I still be afraid of the humans in front of me? One person and one beast separated quickly after just one collision. Shen Yao took 3 steps back to stabilize her figure. Shadow Wolf was even more embarrassed than Shen Yao. His whole body retreated several meters, and finally he rolled on the ground to lose the power. Lin Xiao originally wanted to help, but Shen Yao was too fast. By the time he was about to take action, the Shadow Wolf had already been knocked away. Lin Xiao couldn't help but take a breath when he saw this. When he shook hands with Shen Yao before, he knew that Shen Yao was not weak and not inferior to him. Now it seems that he was too confident. That was the 2nd level Shadow Wolf, and it was directly crushed by Shen Yao in terms of strength. It seems that there is still a big gap in strength between himself and Shen Yao, who used spiritual skills to support her. Lin Xiao would not belittle himself. It had only been a week since he started training. If he was given some time, he didn't think he would be much worse than Shen Yao. Are you okay? Shen Yao raised her head proudly. Although this beast is a 2nd level spiritual beast, I'm really not afraid of it when it competes with me in strength. Don't be stunned, besiege it. We must kill this guy no matter what today. Lin Xiao nodded, and the 2 of them took the initiative to attack the Shadow Wolf this time. Shadow Wolf was still a little confused at this time. The two little guys in front of him were a bit difficult to deal with. But that's all, strength doesn't mean everything. Even if the power is still the same, it can't be taken advantage of. It is a shadow wolf, the king of darkness. There are shadows everywhere here, it is completely your home field. Thinking of this, Shadow Wolf directly began to use his own powers, and his entire body disappeared directly into the shadows. This made Lin Xiao and Shen Yao jump away. Both of them were speechless. The shadow type is really difficult to deal with. If you can't beat them, you'll just have to take advantage of them. Fortunately, the two of them were very close to the Shadow Wolf. Although the Shadow Wolf disappeared into the shadows, they could still know the approximate location of the Shadow Wolf based on the fluctuations in spiritual power. Shen Yao had a bad temper and kicked her feet towards the ground. She came to the shadow where the Shadow Wolf was hiding like a cannonball and punched the shadow. Shadow type does not mean invincibility. As long as you can hit, you can force the Shadow Wolf out. Boom! A small crater was directly blasted out of the ground by Shen Yao. Unfortunately, the Shadow Wolf was not forced out. The moment Shen Yao took action, the Shadow Wolf had already hid in another shadow. Shen Yao shook her head and shrugged at Lin Xiao. Difficult. Of course Lin Xiao knew this. When Shen Yao took action, he also used his own powers. He once again discovered another use for his powers. After the Shadow Wolf hides in the shadows, under normal circumstances, it is difficult to capture its figure except to feel the fluctuations of spiritual power. But Lin Xiao discovered that he could actually see it. After the Shadow Wolf escaped into the shadow, although he merged with the shadow, he could feel that the location of the Shadow Wolf seemed to be slightly deeper than other shadows. This discovery made Lin Xiao ecstatic. At this time, being able to accurately know the location of the Shadow Wolf was undoubtedly good news for him. It was because of this that he did not take action like Shen Yao, but silently observed the movement of the Shadow Wolf. Shen Yao also noticed the difference in Lin Xiao at this time. Lin Xiao's eyes had a strange color, and his pupils were so deep that it was fascinating. Why hadn't I noticed that his eyes were so beautiful before? Lin Xiao came to Shen Yao again. Although he could see the hiding place of the Shadow Wolf, being able to see it did not mean that there was a way to deal with that guy. The shadow system is too flexible. Lin Xiao did not hide anything and told Shen Yao that he could find the hiding place of the Shadow Wolf. Shen Yao! Double exclamation mark. Is it okay to ride on a horse? Is it really just an F-level ability that he awakened? Lin Xiao's superpowers were of great help to the two of them. Although Shen Yao found the hiding place of the Shadow Wolf based on the fluctuation of spiritual power just now, that was because the Shadow Wolf was very close to them. As long as the Shadow Wolf is a little farther away from them, they will become blind. Just like just now, after Shen Yao missed a hit, now she can't find the hiding place of the Shadow Wolf. They can only guard against the Shadow Wolf's sneak attack, which is too passive. But things are different now. As long as Lin Xiao can determine the location of the Shadow Wolf, things will be much simpler. Shen Yao also felt for the first time that maybe if they cooperated, they could really kill the Shadow Wolf. Great, then what should we do next? How about you point me to the location of the Shadow Wolf, and I will be responsible for the attack. Lin Xiao shook his head decisively. This method will definitely not work. It will only consume your spiritual power needlessly. Even if you know its location, it will be difficult for you to hit it, and it will also arouse its vigilance. If it reacts, it's even harder to know where it is. Shen Yao admitted that what Lin Xiao said was quite reasonable. But what can we do if we don't take the initiative? It's not an option to keep wasting it like this. What do you mean? Lin Xiao's eyes have been following the Shadow Wolf. He can tell that they are waiting for an opportunity, and the Shadow Wolf is not the same. That would be easy. Just find a way to get the Shadow Wolf to come to your door. The method is not impossible, and it is very simple. We lure the snake out of its hole, and then create an opportunity for it to take action. Let it think there is an opportunity and it will not be able to help it. Shen Yao's eyes lit up. Although it was a bit risky, there seemed to be no other way. The most terrifying thing about the Shadow Wolf is its ability to hide and sneak attack. Now that it can be found in Lin Xiao, the Shadow Wolf has lost its biggest support. Okay, I will listen to your arrangement. This time, I must not let it go. The shadow wolf is indeed looking for an opportunity, and it is now far enough away from the two of them. It believes that the two of them can't find it now, and when it finds the opportunity, it will definitely make these two little guys look good. Lin Xiao has been paying attention to Shadow Wolf. Shadow Wolf is really suitable to be the sixth child. Now he is hiding in a shadow and has no intention of taking action. It can be seen that Shadow Wolf may have been frightened by Shen Yao's power and was very cautious. Even if Lin Xiao and Shen Yao deliberately exposed a few flaws, Shadow Wolf could not bear to take action without absolute certainty. Are you sure you can see it? We are all like this, how can it hold back and not take action? Lin Xiao was also speechless. This Shadow Wolf was really too cautious. I don't know either, but I'm not in a hurry. Act more naturally. The reason why the other party is still able to take action now is because the temptation we gave him is not big enough. If we get closer, I really don't believe he can resist it. Don't take action. Isn't it a bit risky? A bit, but at this time we can only give it a try. Okay, just do as you say. Be careful, that is a 2-star spiritual beast after all. Shen Yao nodded. Naturally she would not be careless. In this way, the two of them pretended to be searching, and soon headed towards the Shadow Wolf's hiding place. Shadow Wolf immediately became nervous and closely observed the two people's actions. It felt that its opportunity had come. As long as it could seize the opportunity this time, it should be able to deal with the two of them. Judging from the appearance of the two of them, it seems that they haven't noticed themselves yet, and they have waited so long in vain. With Lin Xiao's help, the two quickly arrived not far from the Shadow Wolf. Lin Xiao controlled the distance very well, which not only made the Shadow Wolf feel that the two of them had not discovered it yet, but also made the Shadow Wolf think that this was an opportunity. After waiting for a while and seeing that Shadow Wolf had no intention of taking action, Lin Xiao knew that he would give Shadow Wolf a strong dose of medicine. Shen Yao, let's turn our backs. This Shadow Wolf is so cautious despite being stronger than us. It seems like it won't be able to take action unless we give it a big enough opening. Shen Yao nodded imperceptibly. The two pretended not to find the Shadow Wolf and prepared to search in another direction. The two of them turned around and handed their backs completely to the Shadow Wolf. Although the Shadow Wolf is very careful, it is only a second-level spiritual beast after all, and its intelligence is not very high. How could it not be tempted when it sees such a good opportunity in front of it? At this moment, the Shadow Wolf couldn't bear it any longer and dodged out of the shadows, then pounced directly towards Lin Xiao. This time it also learned to be clever, knowing that Shen Yao was more difficult to deal with, so it set its target on Lin Xiao. Since Lin Xiao dared to set a trap for Shadow Wolf, how could he not take any precautions? Feeling the sound of wind behind him, he immediately lowered his body. The huge body of the Shadow Wolf jumped directly over his head. Lin Xiao's purpose is not to simply attract the Shadow Wolf. If he does not seize the opportunity this time, the Shadow Wolf will only be more cautious in the future. So when the Shadow Wolf's figure passed over Lin Xiao did not hesitate and directly grabbed one of the Shadow Wolf's legs with his backhand. Before the Shadow Wolf landed, he used his arms to lift up into the air and ride directly on the Shadow Wolf. Feeling that there was an extra human on his body, the Shadow Wolf began to struggle violently, trying to throw Lin Xiao off. How could Lin Xiao let Shadow Wolf get his wish? He put his arms around the Shadow Wolf's neck, and his feet tightly wrapped around the Shadow Wolf's waist. Eat my one move to kill the chain. No matter how much the Shadow Wolf tried, Lin Xiao just had one thought and locked this guy to death. Completely locked up like Lu Ruyan and Ji Boxiao. Shadow Wolf had no way to deal with Lin Xiao on his back. Soon Shadow Wolf had an idea. He was a shadow type, so why did he always think about using physical methods to get rid of this guy? As long as he activates his shadow power and escapes into the shadows, he doesn't believe that Lin Xiao can still be with him. Spiritual power fluctuations began to appear on its body. Lin Xiao immediately understood what the Shadow Wolf was thinking. It had already lured you out. How could it possibly let you leave again? He freed up one hand and punched the Shadow Wolf hard. Lin Xiao still had a bandage on his arm. The power of this punch was not light at all, and the Shadow Wolf howled after being beaten. The spiritual power in the body also became chaotic, and the spiritual skills that were about to be brewed were directly scattered. The release of spiritual skills requires the operation of spiritual power, which is why Lin Xiao tried so hard to climb onto the back of the shadow wolf. The shadow wolf was furious and began to swing his body wildly again. Lin Xiao hugged him tightly again. Anyway, he insisted on Qingshan and would not let go. The shadow wolf was helpless. Lin Xiao was on its back, like a dog-skin plaster that couldn't be shaken off, and it couldn't be attacked. It was really uncomfortable to try to use his powers, but was interrupted by this guy. Lin Xiao actually felt uncomfortable at this time. The shadow wolf was swinging wildly and rolling on the ground. Although he didn't let go, his whole body was covered in scars. If he hadn't been ravaged by Sun Ziyuan a lot before, he might have been unable to hold on now. I said, Shen Yao, if you see this again anytime soon, come over and help. Shen Yao also reacted at this time. She knew the opportunity had come. With Lin Xiao's restraint, the shadow wolf is now like a tiger without teeth. Coming, Shen Yao directly joined the battlefield. With Shen Yao joining, the shadow wolf was even more stretched. Shen Yao alone gave it a headache, not to mention that there was a guy behind him who kept causing trouble for him. Every time I wanted to use my spiritual skills, I was interrupted by this guy. Also, this guy seems to have quite a lot of strength. He has already broken several bones. It really hurts. With the addition of Shen Yao, it is really facing enemies from both sides. How did things develop to this extent? From the moment Lin Xiao climbed onto the shadow wolf's back, its fate was sealed. Under the double blow of Lin Xiao and Shen Yao, Shadow Wolf was finally overwhelmed and ended his short life. What left Lin Xiao speechless was that although he had used the most strength to kill the Shadow Wolf this time, but it was Shen Yao who dealt the final blow to Shadow Wolf. Shen Yao punched the Shadow Wolf on the head and killed it, which meant that the Shadow Wolf's points seemed to fall on Shen Yao's head. There was already a point gap between him and Shen Yao, but now that he was in this situation, he was further away from Shen Yao's points. No, do something yourself. He was so close to 2 million, so he couldn't just give it up to Shen Yao. Then, before anyone announces the end of the assessment, I have one last chance. That means Shen Yao will be eliminated. It's just that it seems a bit unreasonable to attack Shen Yao at this time. Lin Xiao quickly pushed this thought out of his mind. Just kidding, what is authentic or not, small money is more important. After the Shadow Wolf was successfully killed, the live broadcast room was abuzz again. It was so awesome that he actually killed a level 2 Shadow Wolf. Yeah, I originally thought that the two of them would be eliminated by the Shadow Wolf in the end. That Lin Xiao is a ruthless person. He directly locked up the Shadow Wolf. I would call it the strongest locking skill. Haha, but the one who killed the Shadow Wolf in the end was our beautiful lady Shen Yao. I guess Lin Xiao was going to be mad to death. This assessment should be over, right? What a wonderful experience. It was worth it. I stayed up all night for 3 days to watch it. The upstairs is awesome, but I still want to remind you, be careful of sudden death. Zhou Wei and others were also very shocked when the Shadow Wolf was killed. Although this was a test set by him, his purpose was to train these students, but he never thought that they could really kill the Shadow Wolf. That's a second-level shadow-type spiritual beast. These guys really gave themselves a surprise. After the Shadow Wolf was killed, Lin Xiao finally let go of the Shadow Wolf. Lying on the ground, breathing heavily. There is no part of his body that is not aching now. Shen Yao is much better than Lin Xiao, at least she doesn't look as embarrassed as Lin Xiao. I don't know if it's because of fighting together with Lin Xiao, but Shen Yao doesn't have any precautions against Lin Xiao now. She walked to Lin Xiao's side and stretched out her hand to Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao didn't think much and handed over his hand. Shen Yao used her strength to pull Lin Xiao up from the ground. Sorry, I was killed in the end. There was nothing I could do about it. In battle, there are many things that are beyond my control. Lin Xiao was speechless. Shen Yao did this on purpose. This was a naked stab at his heart. I understand, at that time it didn't matter who took the head. As long as you can look away, I'm sorry, the first place in this assessment belongs to me. Shen Yao smiled brightly, and Lin Xiao also laughed. That's not necessarily the case. When Lin Xiao spoke, he directly raised his hand to Shen Yao's neck and gave her a knife. He controlled his strength very well, ensuring that Shen Yao was not really injured and could make her pass out. Shen Yao didn't expect that at this time, Lin Xiao would actually take action against her. Was her last thought before passing out. You little piece of trash, you can't afford to play, you don't have the strength to do a sneak attack. Lin Xiao's sudden attack made everyone confused, and the barrage exploded. I'm sorry, Lin Xiao finally took action against Shen Yao. I would like to be called a role model for our generation, and I would kill such beauties. Shen Yao, I originally thought I had a chance to win, but I didn't expect there was a sixth person beside me. Ha 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 ha, I don't know why, I feel like laughing. Speaking of which, it's just me. Do you think Lin Xiao is a little too much? Watching the live broadcast were also students who had been eliminated long ago. Joji had a complex expression on his face and just wanted to shout that Brother Xiao is mighty. And judging from Lin Xiao's appearance, he didn't mean anything to Shen Yao, so he could really pursue her with peace of mind. Others also felt that the matter turned around too quickly, and they did not expect that Lin Xiao would come to such an end. The happiest person was Ji Boxiao. Look, what kind of bird is this Lin Xiao? In the end, he didn't attack the people around him. Why didn't you call him? Everyone looked at Ji Boxiao as if they were a fool. Lin Xiao's approach was a bit unethical, but it was completely different from Ji Boxiao's nature. Ji Boxiao abandoned his teammates and fled alone in the face of danger. Lin Xiao, what does this mean? At most, after the danger was eliminated, some methods were used to compete for first place. Although the methods are somewhat unsightly and even a little underhanded. But so what? This is completely different from Ji Boxiao's behavior. Ji Boxiao felt even more aggrieved when he saw everyone's gaze. You people, treat them differently. Everyone stopped looking at Ji Boxiao. There was no need to explain to such a person. Wang Qing and others originally planned to come out and announce that the assessment was over, but they didn't expect that Lin Xiao gave them a surprise in the end. After thinking for a while, I finally walked out. Lin Xiao, didn't you say that killing the shadow wolf would be the end? Lin Xiao, Pan, Dama, how could it end like that? Wouldn't it be in vain? Examiner, you can't say that. As long as you haven't announced the end of the assessment, it means that the assessment is still going on. I will eliminate Shen Yao, and her points will naturally be mine. Don't you want to default on your debt? Wang Qing was also a little speechless, but he had to admit that Lin Xiao was right. Okay, if you win, you will be number one in this assessment. Sister-in-law, it's not that I won in the first place. It's whatever you say. At this point, the Secret Realm assessment ended perfectly. Lin Xiao became the number one in the Secret Realm with F-level abilities, which surprised many people. Many ordinary people even wonder whether they can be as powerful as Lin Xiao. Sun Ziyuan and Marong Yu did not show up, but their eyes were full of smiles when they looked at Lin Xiao. This little guy is really beyond our expectations. Brother Marong, when you asked this kid to participate, who would have thought that this kid would get the first place? Not really, but this kid's last move was indeed a bit unreasonable. I don't agree with your idea. In fact, what I'm most satisfied with is this boy's performance in the Secret Realm. You can't be too rigid as a person. You disrespectful fellow. Haha, just wait for this kid to go back, he may be dealt with by old Shen, who cherishes his granddaughter very much. It's time to clean up this kid. After this kid goes back, the nursing home may become completely lively. I don't know why, but I suddenly became a little excited. Indeed, as far as I know, there are more than a dozen people who want to hand over their skills to Lin Xiao. Because Lin Xiao didn't strike too hard, Shen Yao had already woken up. When she saw Lin Xiao's face that needed a beating, she almost couldn't help but go over and give this guy a good meal. She really didn't expect that she trusted Lin Xiao so much, and she didn't expect that Lin Xiao would do evil things to her. Snort. Lin Xiao touched his nose, feeling somewhat embarrassed. Well, I think you don't care about the reward for first place. I need the money very much, so please forgive me. Shen Yao was not actually very angry, she just didn't expect Lin Xiao to actually do it. No matter what, she is a beautiful woman, okay. I don't care about the reward for first place, but I want first place. Anyway, it's a done deal, do whatever you like. Shen Yao shocked face filled down pointing triangle Tang filled down pointing triangle me winking face oh. After saying this, I felt as if I had been ruined by Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao is thick-skinned, and it doesn't matter if Shen Yao doesn't forgive him. Anyway, there may not be a chance to meet him in the future. Suddenly, he slapped his thigh suddenly. Although the assessment is over, the battlefield has not been cleaned yet. How could I forget such an important thing? It's only a small amount of money. After saying that, Lin Xiao ignored Wang Yao and went to deal with the bodies of the swift-wind wolves and shadow wolves. I don't know if there will be any spiritual beads from so many spirit beasts. It would be great if I could get 70, 80 or 90 spiritual beads. Wang Qing and others saw Lin Xiao digging for spiritual beads, but they didn't say anything. After all, these were killed by Lin Xiao and Shen Yao, and the gains in the secret realm belong to them. Wang Qing looked at Shen Yao beside him. Shen Yao, aren't you going to help? Maybe there are really spiritual beads. You also contributed to killing these spirit beasts. Shen Yao shook her head. I've been eliminated, so I won't get involved. Let him deal with it himself. Lin Xiao dealt with the bodies of the spirit beasts very quickly. He didn't give him any spiritual beads for dozens of swift-wind wolves, which made him a little unhappy. Fortunately, the wolf skins and wolf teeth could still be sold for some money, and he accepted them without hesitation. In the end, only the shadow wolf was not dealt with. Looking at the smooth black hair of the shadow wolf, Lin Xiao knew that the most valuable thing here was the material on the shadow wolf. Of course, it would be best if this guy could give him a spirit bead. Lin Xiao did not hold much hope, but no matter how slim the hope was, he had to go digging. When his hand touched a round bead, he was stunned. Oh my, there really was a spirit bead. It was a pitch-black spirit bead. Lin Xiao sensed it and found that the supernatural power contained in it was Shadow Raid. Seeing that Lin Xiao really found a spirit bead, and it was a second-level shadow spirit bead, a group of people didn't know what to say. What luck this kid has, a level 2 spirit bead. Ordinary level 2 spirit beads on the market now cost millions, right? That's what he said, but what he got was not an ordinary spirit bead, a level 2 shadow spirit bead. Shadow spirit beads are hard to come by, and the price of this spirit bead must at least double. It's more than just doubling. I don't know the specific value, but this kid is going to get rich anyway. The comments of the people around him were all heard by Lin Xiao. He couldn't help but raise his mouth. It was a correct decision to come to the secret realm assessment this time. It's only been a short time, and he has made so much money. I never felt that making money was so easy. Out of curiosity, Shen Yao also came to Lin Xiao's side at this time. Seeing Shen Yao approaching, Lin Xiao instinctively thought that this guy was here to rob something. What are you doing? This spirit bead is mine, and no one can snatch it from me. Shen Yao couldn't help but roll her eyes. What did this guy think of her? Although this spirit bead is valuable, she really doesn't like it. If it is a second-level power system, it may be a little attractive to her. But looking at this guy's money-grubbing look, it seems that he is really short of money. Tisk, what are you thinking? I won't fight with you for it. I just think this spirit bead is pretty. Come here to broaden your horizons. Lin Xiao was relieved when he heard this. As long as he didn't fight with him for the spirit bead, it wouldn't be a big problem. He shook the spirit bead in front of Shen Yao's eyes, and then quickly put it away. Yes, I have seen it. You can go back. Shen Yao, Min. Forget it, don't be angry, don't be angry. Lin Xiao attacked me today, Grandpa will not let him go. Thinking of this, Shen Yao showed a somewhat dark smile on his face. Lin Xiao didn't understand why, and always felt a chill on his back. But he didn't think much about it, just guarded the spirit bead in his hand more tightly, and then pretended to put it in his pocket, but actually put it in his space ring. This time Lin Xiao was completely relieved and continued to deal with the shadow wolf's body regardless of Shen Yao. After everything was almost done, Lin Xiao looked at the pile of wolf skins and became worried. What should I do with these things? It is definitely impossible to directly earn space rings. After all, when I sold things before, although it inevitably aroused some people's suspicions, there was no substantial evidence after all. If you just collect these wolf skins and the like, you will definitely be remembered. Do you have to carry all of this back on your own? Although it is not too heavy, it is somewhat troublesome. His eyes quickly fell on Wang Qing. Examiner, do you accept these wolf skins and wolf teeth? Wang Qing was stunned. He didn't expect that Lin Xiao would end up doing business on his own head. He is from the military and really needs these materials. Take it, these things can be made into armor. I have a demand here, but the price will be slightly cheaper than the market price. These things are not valuable. The maximum I can give you is 1,000 for the wind wolf skin, and 500 for a pair of wolf teeth. The shadow wolf can be more expensive, 10,000 for the wolf skin and 5,000 for the wolf fang. If you want to sell it, I can transfer it to you now. Quote. Lin Xiao didn't know the price of these things. Although the money wasn't much, it was still extra income. Okay, I'll sell you 45 wolf skins, plus the wolf teeth, and the materials on the shadow wolf. The total is 62,000 5,000, you can just give me 60,000. Wang Qing didn't hesitate and transferred the money directly to Lin Xiao, and asked the people around him to collect the wolf skin. Lin Xiao suddenly thought of something. After disposing of the wolf skins and the like, he still had 2 spirit beads in his hand, so he might as well sell them to Wang Qing. Although the price may be cheaper, the Lingju is of no use to him, so he still feels at ease in exchange for money. Bishop, can you accept the spirit beads? Wang Qing was stunned. Is this guy planning to sell the Shadow Wolf's spirit beads to him? There are many geniuses in the army, and some of them are from the Shadow system. Shadow system spiritual beads are already rare, so if Lin Xiao sells them to him, he will definitely take them. Receive. When Lin Xiao heard this, he immediately smiled and took out the 2 spirit beads he had obtained. Wang Qing didn't observe Lin Xiao all the time, so he didn't know that Lin Xiao had also obtained a spirit bead before. He didn't think much about it and immediately started checking it. One is the enhanced wind blade of the wind system. Although it is only a first-level spiritual skill, it is still a small masterpiece. The other one is the Shadow Raid of the Shadow series, which is also the best. The market price of the enhanced wind blade is around 1 million, and the key is Shadow Raid. If this was put up for auction, it would cost more than 5 million. I can give you up to 5 million for these 2 spirit beads. The price is lower than the market price. You decide for yourself. I don't have any objection if you don't sell them. Although Lin Xiao knew that these 2 spiritual beads were expensive, he never expected that just these 2 would be sold for 5 million. Sell. Why don't you sell it? Just take some losses and how will you pay the bills? Wang Qing didn't expect Lin Xiao to be so straightforward. Okay, but I don't have that much money now, so I need to apply to the above. Don't worry, I will give you the money before you leave. After hearing Wang Qing's words, Lin Xiao looked at Wang Qing with some suspicion. By the way, this guy doesn't want to prostitute his spirit beads for free, right? Feeling Lin Xiao's distrustful gaze, Wang Qing was a little bit dumbfounded. He was still a regiment-level cadre after all, and he would not do anything black. I'll leave the spirit beads with you for now. When my money arrives, I'll hand over the money and deliver the goods. Lin Xiao felt relieved now, as long as he didn't blackmail his own small money. This trip to the secret place was really fruitful. Not counting the final reward, I have earned more than 7 million, which I never dared to think about before. Lin Xiao's mood can be expressed in one word now. Cool, the secret realm assessment is all over here, and there is no need to stay here any longer. Wang Qing looked at Lin Xiao and Shen Yao. This assessment is over here. Now you can leave the secret realm. The city lord is waiting for you there and will also give you the final reward. Neither of them had any problem with that, it was really time to go out. The return trip was much faster. Even if Murong Yu didn't take action, Wang Qing and others took them to the entrance in just over an hour. After leaving the secret realm, all the students who participated in the assessment were here, and there were some people whom Lin Xiao didn't know. They must be the planners of this event. Next comes the exciting awards ceremony. Lin Xiao felt very happy when he thought that he had won the first place and would immediately receive another 2 million. Just a few seconds away from becoming a multi-millionaire. Zhou Wei was responsible for awarding awards for this assessment. When he saw Lin Xiao coming out, he gave Lin Xiao a hard look. Although he recognized Lin Xiao's strength, this little guy was really cheap. Ruined many of my plans. Forget it, it's already this time, there's no point in causing trouble for Lin Xiao anymore. Lin Xiao also felt Zhou Wei's gaze. He knew Zhou Wei. After all, he could often be seen on TV. By the way, I haven't offended the city lord, right? Why do you look at me so unkindly? In addition, Lin Xiao also felt a malicious gaze, and he immediately looked over. Who else could it be if it wasn't Ji Boxiao? Ji Boxiao was obviously being targeted now. Apart from Lu Ruyan, there was no one else beside him. Even the henchmen who had been following him before did not choose to stand by his side this time. Cut, useless little trash. He didn't dare to confront the city lord, how could he be afraid of this guy? Hey, isn't this young Master Ji who sacrificed his life to attract the shadow wolf all by himself? It's been so long since we last met, why do you look so embarrassed? The way you were scared to the point of peeing before was really hilarious. Lin Xiao's words were full of irony, saying that Ji Boxiao abandoned his teammates and sacrificed his life to attract the shadow wolf. This was the naked heart of Ji Boxiao, and Ji Boxiao couldn't refute it. After all, it was all facts. Seeing the mocking looks from around him, Ji Boxiao gave Lin Xiao a vicious look and ignored him. With so many people watching, no matter what he said, it was wrong. A gentleman's revenge is never too late. Sooner or later, this kid will have to pay the price. After he was eliminated, he had been observing the live broadcast. The people who were eliminated later were all eliminated by the Storm Wolf. Although he killed a lot, the points did not change much. In other words, based on his previous points, he can still enter the top 10. As long as he enters the top 10, he can become the heir of the family. When the time comes, he doesn't need to do anything to deal with Lin Xiao. Snort, let this kid babble a little more first. Lin Xiao didn't know that Ji Boxiao was plotting against him, and even if he knew, he wouldn't care. Although the Ji family is powerful in Zuncheng, can it be as powerful as the Red Sun nursing home? After he went back, he was not going to come out soon. He really didn't believe that the Ji family dared to touch the Red Sun nursing home. If they really did, the Ji family would be the one who died. It only takes a matter of minutes for Sun Ziyuan or Marong Yu to kill the entire Ji family. This is also the main reason why Lin Xiao is so unscrupulous. Zhou Wei also had a headache when he saw Lin Xiao making trouble again. If this kid hadn't been backed by those seniors, he would have wanted to deal with this kid. He coughed twice, attracting everyone's attention. Ahem, everyone be quiet. The final awards are now being held. The rewards for the top 10 will be given directly to your school. You can collect them by yourself after returning to school. Only the top 10 will be awarded here. I will now announce the 10th place, Zhou Ji, 205 points. Zhou Ji didn't expect that his name would be called first, and he would actually enter the top 10. In fact, he didn't do anything at all. It was basically Lin Xiao who took him away. It's just these 250 points. Why do I feel like I'm scolding myself? No matter what, I am in the top 10, so cool. Zhou Ji quickly went up to receive the award. Zhou Wei encouraged Zhou Ji and looked at Zhou Ji with kind eyes. Zhou Wei is also a member of the Zhou family. In terms of seniority, he is the uncle of Zhou Ji. This time Zhou Ji entered the top 10, which also made him look good. The two of them didn't exchange too many pleasantries, after all, there were so many people watching. After Zhou Ji left, Zhou Wei continued to speak. 9th place, Wu Kai, points 261. 4th place, Zhang Wei, with 301 points. So far, only the top 3 have not yet been announced. Ji Boxiao's face showed a look of surprise. He didn't know how many specific points he had, but he was basically sure that he would be in the top 10. It seems that I have entered the top 3. He overfulfilled the task. Although he was embarrassed in the end, people who wanted to come to the family probably wouldn't say anything. At this time, Zhou Wei finally spoke. 3rd place, Chu Ran, with 372 points. Chu Ran immediately stepped forward to receive the award, and Ji Boxiao's face suddenly fell. He was confused. He was not 3rd. He is not arrogant enough to surpass Shen Yao and Lin Xiao in points. Does this mean that he is not in the top 3? Did you fall out of the top 10? How can this be? Chu Ran came down after receiving the reward, while Zhou Wei continued to announce. 2nd place, Shen Yao, has 530 points. When Shen Yao's points were announced, everyone present exclaimed, "Is the gap between the second place and the third place so big?" Shen Yao went up to receive the award, and Zhou Wei praised her hard. Shen Yao was not very interested. After all, her goal was to be first. Getting second was considered a failure for him. Finally, it was the turn to announce the first place. There was no suspense in the first morning, and everyone looked at Lin Xiao. First place Lin Xiao, with 888 points. Lin Xiao smiled. He liked this number. 888, fa. Didn't he get rich during this trip to the secret realm? He immediately went up to receive the award. To Lin Xiao's surprise, Zhou Wei only gave him the bonus but no spirit beads. Lin Xiao looked at Zhou Wei in confusion. Zhou Wei was also a little embarrassed. "Well, we don't have the spiritual beads to enhance eyesight, so we can only owe them first and then give them to you when we find them later." Lin Xiao was speechless. Zhou Wei didn't expect that he, an F-level superpower, could become the final champion. Who knows when they will find the spirit beads they need, so they can't keep being in debt like this. "City Lord, how about we give it a discount?" Zhou Wei did not expect that Lin Xiao would make such a request. He also readily agreed. After all, this type of spirit bead was indeed rare, and if he kept dragging it on, he would be stabbed in the spine. "Okay, I'll give you an extra 2 million, no problem." Lin Xiao didn't expect Zhou Wei to be so generous. Naturally, he wouldn't object. 2 million can buy the best first-level spiritual skills. Okay, the city lord is awesome. Chapter 64. The money arrived quickly, and the smile on Lin Xiao's face never stopped. When Wang Qing's money is in place, he will truly become a multimillionaire. Zhou Wei looked at Lin Xiao, who was giggling there and was speechless for a while. This kid can be said to be the biggest variable in this assessment. He brought a large amount of supplies in, which disrupted his plan, but it was also because of him that he was able to successfully kill the shadow wolf in the end. This may be fate. It is indeed not without reason that he is valued by those seniors. He was a little curious about how far this kid could grow in the future. After Lin Xiao went down, Zhou Wei looked at the students still gathered together. "Okay, this assessment is over here. I hope everyone can grow up well in the days to come and become the pillars of the country. The leaders of each school should go back with the people from their own schools." Hearing what Zhou Wei said, everyone was ready to leave. At this moment, a very inappropriate voice sounded. "I don't accept it. You are cheating. With my points, there is no way you won't be in the top 10. It was Ji Boxiao who spoke. At this time, he finally realized that he really did not enter the top 10. This was unacceptable to him in any case. Zhou Wei looked at Ji Boxiao, with a trace of disgust flashing in his eyes. "Student Ji, this assessment is fair and just. Your previous points were 299. If you only looked at the points, you could enter the top 10. However, due to your wrong actions, after our study, we deducted 50 points from you. In terms of points, your final points are 249, which is exactly 11th. Do you have any objections? If so, just hold on." Zhou Wei's words were not polite at all, and the people around him looked at Ji Boxiao even more jokingly. In this assessment, Ji Boxiao can be said to be the biggest joke. Although Ji Boxiao was still dissatisfied, with so many big guys present, he knew that nothing he could say would be of any use. "I can only accept this reality bitterly. I just hope that when I return to the Ji family, my family will recognize me." Zhou Ji also came to Lin Xiao's side at this time and directly put his arm around Lin Xiao's shoulders. "Brother, you are my real brother. I never dreamed that I would be able to enter the top 10. You're lucky, too. If Ji Boxiao hadn't committed suicide, you might have been ranked number 11. Whatever, I'm number 10 now anyway. If you don't talk about this, are you going back to school with us next?" Of course, it is impossible for Lin Xiao to go back to school. It's already this time, so why go back to school? "I won't go back. I still have my own things to do. You made a lot of money during this trip to the secret realm. You're not still thinking about doing a part-time job, are you? I don't want to deceive you. It's impossible to work part-time. I have my own things to do. I'll explain it to you later." The two were still chatting. Zhu Yu came to the two of them at some unknown time. When he heard that Lin Xiao did not plan to go back, his face looked a little ugly. Lin Xiao, you don't go back to school. Why? This time you got first place in the secret assessment, and our school will give you a reward. How can you not go back to school? Lin Xiao's eyes lit up when he heard there was a reward, but in the end he slowly shook his head. Director, my matter is complicated. I can't go back to school for the time being. You also know that I have offended Ji Boxiao. Wouldn't it be uncomfortable to go back now? When Lin Xiao said this, Zhu Yu fell silent. Although he could still take care of Lin Xiao when he was in school, he couldn't always follow Lin Xiao. The Ji family's hands and eyes are all over the sky in Zuncheng. If Lin Xiao goes back, he really can't guarantee whether Ji Boxiao will take revenge. Forget it, you can figure it out yourself. You can think about it. If you go back to school, we can still take care of you. If someone from the Ji family finds you outside, there's nothing we can do. Don't worry about this, director, he can't find me. Even if he can find me, he can't do anything to me. Seeing Lin Xiaoyan's confident look, Zhu Yu stopped trying to dissuade him. Okay, let's do that. I'll gather the people from one middle school first, and you can leave on your own. Lin Xiao naturally understood what Zhu Yu meant. Zhu Yu meant that he should restrain Ji Boxiao first and let him leave quickly while Ji Boxiao could still react. Lin Xiao did not refuse, and he was not suitable to leave with them. After saying goodbye to Zhou Ji again, Lin Xiao left on his own. Wang Qing had been waiting for him for a long time, and the money had arrived. He immediately called Lin Xiao, and Lin Xiao also gave Wang Qing the 2 spirit beads. The two of them had a great time working together. Lin Xiao left after that. He had already seen Sun Ziyuan and Murong Yu. As soon as Sun Ziyuan saw Lin Xiao, the smile on his face could no longer be hidden. He quickly stepped forward and ravaged Lin Xiao's hair. You're good, brat. I asked you to come here to learn more, but you just brought us a first one back. It really makes me proud. Lin Xiao struggled to escape from Sun Ziyuan's clutches and straightened his messed up hair. It is said that the head can be broken or bleeding, but the hairstyle should not be messed up. Sun Ziyuan actually dared to mess up his hair. Really, forget it, I can't beat him. And since I have made so much money and am in a good mood, I don't care about him anymore. When you should follow your heart, you still have to follow your heart. That's not true, and it doesn't matter who taught me. Lin Xiao's flattery made Sun Ziyuan very comfortable. You brat, I like to hear this. If you have a long mouth, say more. Lin Xiao. Epsilon equals Omicron ***. Alas. This means you were really out of breath because you were fat. Murong Yu looked at the two people fighting with a smile on his face. Okay, you two, stop making trouble and get ready to go back. When Murong Yu said this, Lin Xiao immediately got ready. The previous experience is still fresh in my mind, and I must be prepared this time. Murong Yu did not wait for the two of them to agree. He waved his hand and teleported away with the two of them. When the three of them appeared again, they had returned to the Red Sun nursing home. I don't know if it was due to the previous experience. This time, although Lin Xiao's face was still a little pale, he did not vomit again. It can be considered an improvement. When Lin Xiao saw the scene in front of him clearly, he was stunned for a moment. The elderly in the nursing home were all here. Moreover, the looks that many people looked at Lin Xiao made him feel weird. He didn't think much and waved to these old people. Brothers and sisters, I'm back. The old people smiled and said nothing. After Lin Xiao finished speaking, they took the initiative to make way for an old man to walk out of the way. The old man walked towards Lin Xiao slowly with a cane in his hand. Lin Xiao was a little confused. He knew the old man, his name was Shen Weizi. I had met him a few times before and said hello to him. The old man was quite kind to him. At this moment, for some unknown reason, the look he looked at seemed a little unkind. Brother Shen, what are you doing? Sun Ziyuan touched Lin Xiao and said lightly. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that Lao Shen is Shen Yao's grandfather, the kissable kind. Lin Xiao. PFF. This is a fight with the younger ones, here comes the older ones. Can't beat it at all. Run away. Lin Xiao didn't hesitate at all and ran away. Shen Weizi's voice also came from behind. If you dare to bully my precious granddaughter, don't run away, you brat. I promise not to beat you to death. Shen Weizi was not young, but he had no problems with his legs and feet. At least when Lin Xiao met him before, he had never seen him on crutches. At this time, he was holding a cane in his hand, obviously because it was easier to hit himself. Lin Xiao had just taken 2 steps when he was caught up by Shen Weizi. After all, the levels of Shen Weizi and Lin Xiao were very different. After catching up with Lin Xiao, Shen Weizi had no intention of being polite to Lin Xiao, and the crutches hit him like raindrops. The beating made Lin Xiao howl and scream. "Brother Shen, be gentle, it hurts. Do you know it hurts now? When you bully my granddaughter, does it hurt my granddaughter? You can do it to my eldest granddaughter who is as beautiful as a flower." "Ah, I really didn't know she was your granddaughter. If I knew, I would definitely, still take action. You brat, if you still refuse to repent, it seems you've given me too little punishment. Take my 18 dragon subduing staff." Shen Weizi struck very carefully, causing Lin Xiao to feel pain but not causing much harm to Lin Xiao. After prodding Lin Xiao for half an hour, Shen Weizi slowly stopped. When Shen Weizi stopped, Lu Jiao slowly walked over and gave Lin Xiao a healing technique. To be honest, Lin Xiao was extremely scared at the time, fearing that Shen Weizi would see him being cured and give him another half hour of loving caress. Fortunately, Shen Weizi seemed to have vented his anger and did not attack him again. Lin Xiao then hid behind Lu Jiao. "Sister Jiao Jiao, brother Shen is bullying me." Lu Jiao looked at Lin Xiao funny. "Okay, who told you to bully my granddaughter? You deserve to be beaten." Lin Xiao wanted to say something else, but Lu Jiao stopped him. "Okay, that's it for now. This time we old guys get together. Apart from watching you get beaten, if you have other serious business, come with me." Seeing Lu Jiao's serious look, Lin Xiao also put aside his little thoughts. He felt something was unusual. He won the first place in the secret realm, but it's not like the entire nursing home residents came to greet him. A little too grand. "Sister Jiao Jiao, what's going on? Give me some insight." "Don't worry, you'll find out soon." Since Lu Jiao didn't say anything, Lin Xiao wasn't in a hurry. I guess it wasn't a bad thing. Soon Lin Xiao came to those old people again, and Sun Ziyuan walked out. "Everyone, I believe you have also watched the live broadcast of the previous game. This kid has completed our test perfectly and is now qualified to actually stay here. Xiaolin, now I have a few questions to ask you. You have to answer them seriously." Quote. Lin Xiao. "Test? What test? Why don't I know anything? Could it be that this secret realm assessment is a test for myself? And haven't you already checked in for a week? Really moving in? Were you still in the trial period? Are these guys trying to steal their 5 million? Lin Xiao's heart was full of questions, but he also knew that this was not the time to ask this question. He didn't know what question Sun Ziyuan wanted to ask him. "Brother Sun, just ask, I will answer you seriously." "Okay, first question, are you sure you want to stay in our Red Sun nursing home? Think about it before answering. I believe you have discovered something unusual about our nursing home. Once you are sure, you can't go back on your word." Lin Xiao was speechless. What's the problem? He chose to stay here just to be a fool. Besides, he spent all the money, so he must have stayed here. "I am sure." "Okay, second question, are you ready to sacrifice for the motherland at all times?" Lin Xiao was confused. He was turning around in a hurry. Why was he still confirming his move in just now? Why did he immediately switch to sacrifice? Can you say that you are not prepared? But after seeing Sun Ziyuan's serious look, Lin Xiao finally stopped joking. Ready at all the time. Although Lin Xiao admits that he is not a good person, he still has no problem with patriotism. When the motherland really needs him to charge into battle, he is not a coward. Very good, I hope you can remember what you said today. I am not joking with you. Third point, after you actually move in, you cannot leak the situation here to the outside world, and you must try to minimize contact with your family. Can it be done? No problem. This time Lin Xiao answered quickly. He was an orphan and had no family. This had no constraints on him. Okay, now that you are ready, let me officially welcome you to Red Sun Nursing Home, everyone. The elderly people in the nursing home were very considerate and gave Lin Xiao their own applause. Now that you have officially moved in, there are some things you should know. First, let's talk about our Red Sun nursing home. It is not wrong to call it a nursing home. After all, we are the elderly who live here, but it is not as simple as a nursing home. I believe you have already noticed this. Successfully moving into a nursing home means that you have joined the most powerful organization in China, Sharp Blade. Lin Xiao was still a little confused at this time, but he understood one thing, that is, the nursing home might be just a gimmick. This is the stronghold of the Blade organization. He also understood that the moment Sun Ziyuan told him this, he was tied to the Sharp Blade. But he still has some doubts. Does he really deserve to be in this organization? Sun Ziyuan seemed to know what Lin Xiao was thinking. You can only be regarded as our reserve member at best now. Only by making a real contribution can you become one of us. You may not know much about how difficult it is to join this organization. Now let's get acquainted. After Sun Ziyuan finished speaking, he was the first to introduce. Sun Ziyuan, a 9th level SS Beast Transformer, former commander of the Eastern China War Zone. After Sun Ziyuan finished speaking, Merong Yu continued to take the exam. Merong Yu, a 9th level SSS level space superpower, the founder of Sharp Blade. Lu Zhao, 9th level SS level treatment department, former head of the logistics department of the Southern China War Zone. Sheng Guangxi, 9th level SS level special department, Scalpel, the #1 surgeon in the country. The old people introduced themselves one by one, and Lin Xiao's mouth opened wider with each introduction. These are all big shots, and each of them has a big background. How can I be acquainted with them? The introduction continues. The person being introduced at this time was a one-armed old man. The old man looked at Lin Xiao with very fiery eyes. Shanuo, an 8th level S-series sound system, China's #1 sniper, has killed 6 level 9 superpowers who were intent on harming our country. Lin Xiao was stunned. Level 8 killed level 9, which was still 6 people. What kind of monsters were these old people in the nursing home? Li Tai, a 7th level SS level special alchemist. There's nothing special about him. He just likes to create some novel elixirs. Zhu Ming, a 7th level A-level water type, has superpowers, is good at disguise, and is nicknamed the man with 1,000 faces. Han Hao is a 7th level A-level earth type. He is good at gambling. He is nicknamed the King of 1,000 Kings. Liang Kixing, a 7th level A-level water type, not very good at superpowers, but my true identity is the world's top hacker. Song Mings has a 7th level A-level fire element and is not very good at supernatural powers. My true identity is a cook, a state banquet level chef. I am responsible for the food in the nursing home. Soon everyone was introduced. Lin Xiao had known the names of these old people before, but this was the first time he had heard of the following identities. His whole body was stunned. His brain is still shutting down. There is only one thought in my mind, that is, our nursing home is really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. The old people here either have amazing fighting power or have special skills. Does a little trash like me really deserve to live here? Seeing that Lin Xiao was still in a daze, Sun Ziyuan next to him touched Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao looked at Sun Ziyuan with a bitter look on his face. Although he had already guessed that the elderly in the nursing home were not simple, he really didn't expect them to be so awesome. Xiao Lin, now you know our identity, which means you have officially become one of us. There are some things that cannot be said to the outside world, otherwise you will not be able to bear the consequences. Let me tell you this, if you do, we have done something unforgivable. With our strength, no matter where you are hiding, it will not be a problem to deal with you. Sun Ziyuan spoke lightly, but Lin Xiao knew that Sun Ziyuan was not joking with him. Nor did he doubt the truth of this statement. Don't worry, brother Sun, I will keep my mouth shut. You don't have to be so restrained. You know that there are still many people in our organization. As long as you don't go too far and occasionally use this status to show off your power, we will allow it. Lin Xiao was noncommittal about this. He was planning to work as a rice bug in a nursing home. Unless there were special circumstances, he was not planning to go out. It seemed that there was no time when he could use this status. By the way, one more thing. Many of us old guys have a certain skill. The children in the family either have no talent or are not interested in these. Many people's skills have no successors, so I want to teach them. Here it is. Do you have any objection? What can Lin Xiao have to say? This is a wealth that is overwhelming. There are many elderly people in nursing homes whose special abilities are not outstanding. Nonsense. No matter how outstanding he is, there is no one below a level. I am an F-level piece of trash, and there is no comparison with them. As long as he can learn a little bit about the skills of these old people, I am afraid he will benefit endlessly in this life. Of course I don't have any objection, it's what I want. When Lin Xiao said this, many old people looked at Lin Xiao differently. Some people have even begun to think about how to teach Lin Xiao. Okay, in that case, starting from tomorrow, you will accept our training. Of course, not everyone will teach you. Like Brother Morong, his space department wants to teach you, but you can't learn it. Lin Xiao naturally understood this, and he didn't want to learn everyone's skills. That would be too unrealistic. I understand. To celebrate your actual move-in, we have also prepared a gift for you, a spiritual pearl that you can use. After Sun Ziyuan finished speaking, he handed Lin Xiao a spiritual bead. Lin Xiao was stunned for a moment. He knew that vision beads were very rare, but he didn't expect the elderly people in the nursing home to help him find them. This is really great. Originally, he was a little disappointed because he didn't get any spiritual beads he could use in this secret realm assessment. He was not polite to Sun Ziyuan and directly took the spirit bead. After feeling it carefully, he knew what the spiritual skills contained in the spirit bead were. Night vision. After awakening to strengthen his vision at night was stronger than that of ordinary people, but there was still a gap between it and true night vision. After absorbing this spiritual bead, it will be different. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Okay, you can absorb the spirit beads here, and we will help you protect the law. Lin Xiao was very moved and did not refuse. He sat on the ground and began to absorb it. The spirit beads quickly disappeared in his hands, and Lin Xiao finally had his second spiritual skill. Unfortunately, it's daytime now, so I don't know how effective night vision is. After absorbing the spirit beads, Lin Xiao's eyes looked brighter, which also made his already handsome man even more agile. Okay, let's all leave now. This guy just came back today and needs to rest. If you have any ideas, let's talk about it tomorrow. The old people dispersed one after another, leaving only one person at the scene. Lin Xiao remembered him. Li Tai, a man who awakened as a special alchemist. Alchemist sounded more like a profession than a superpower, which made Lin Xiao very curious about him. Li Tai took the initiative to come to Lin Xiao's side at this time. Brother Lin, are you tired? Fortunately, I have almost recovered. Then are you free to come and sit at my place? After thinking about it, Lin Xiao did not refuse and took advantage of this opportunity to experience the profession of alchemist. Seeing Lin Xiao agree, Li Tai showed a smile on his face. He has researched a lot of new elixirs recently, and no one else in the nursing home wants to be his guinea pig. He has been eyeing Lin Xiao for a long time. He didn't look for Lin Xiao before because Lin Xiao was still an outsider. It's different now. Lin Xiao has officially become one of them, a fresh guinea pig, no need for it. Lu Jiao was about to leave, but when she saw Li Tai calling Lin Xiao, she returned immediately. Li Tai, are you too impatient? Li Tai chuckled. Sister Jiao, I was just about to call you, but I didn't expect you to come over on your own. Lin Xiao had a bad feeling when he saw Lu Jiao. Although Lu Jiao has always taken good care of him, he is actually a little afraid of Lu Jiao. Because when Lu Jiao was around him, it meant that he was going to be beaten or abused. Could it be that together with Li Tai, we will encounter some dangers? Isn't it? Li Tai also saw Lin Xiao's scruples and smiled coquettishly. Brother Lin, please relax. It's not dangerous. I just want you to try some of the elixirs I have newly researched. They are all great tonics. I was just afraid that you would not be able to get enough of them, so I let Sister Jiao follow. After hearing what Li Tai said, Lin Xiao was completely relieved. It turns out that's the case, as long as you don't test the poison on yourself. The great tonic must be worth a lot of money, and you will definitely not lose money if you take it yourself. At most, you should exercise yourself to digest it. The 3 days of participating in the secret realm assessment made him miss the feeling of training before. Besides, with Lu Jiao here, there will definitely be no surprises. Li Tai led the way, and Lin Xiao and Lu Jiao walked behind. Although it felt like there would be no problem, Lin Xiao always felt something was strange. Sister Jiao, is Brother Li reliable? Lu Jiao did not answer Lin Xiao's question immediately, but thought about it thoughtfully. To be honest, the elixirs developed by Li Tai are still very good. There are many types of elixirs, some to restore injuries and some to increase cultivation. Although he occasionally refines some things that he himself doesn't know have any effect, but overall, it's not a big problem. We've all tried Dan, and so far, we haven't eaten anyone to death. Lin Xiao. Hyphenation point. My sister, are you sure you are here to comfort me? Never eaten anyone to death. Is this your evaluation? What should I do if I suddenly don't want to go with Li Tai? He wanted to regret it, but when he thought that the lowest people here were 7-level experts, he couldn't resist at all. Forget it, fight it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yes, I must be overthinking it. Lin Xiao originally thought that Li Tai was going to take him back to his dormitory, but who knew that he actually took Lin Xiao into a laboratory. As soon as he entered the laboratory, Lin Xiao smelled a faint fragrance. If nothing else, this is Danxiang. Just smelling the smell made Lin Xiao feel refreshed. Lin Xiao suddenly felt that it might be good to try the elixir, and maybe he could improve a lot. There were no lights on in the laboratory, and the room was a little dark, but Lin Xiao didn't feel any discomfort. He subconsciously used his newly acquired night vision skill, and was surprised to find that the whole room seemed to become brighter. In his opinion, there seemed to be no difference from the daytime. This ability is good. At least when moving at night, I am not afraid of falling into a trap. At this time, Li Tai turned on the laboratory lights, and Lin Xiao's eyes automatically switched modes without feeling any discomfort. Not to mention, my F-level powers don't seem to be as rubbish as I thought. Lin Xiao had been feeling the night vision ability before and did not observe the situation in the house carefully. Only now did he start to look at it seriously. There is actually nothing surprising about the laboratory, just rows of cabinets with bottles on them. If nothing else, it should be filled with pills. Seeing this, Lin Xiao couldn't help but swallow. Although I don't know the value of the elixirs here, I think they are worth a lot of money. If I can sell all the elixirs here, I can get a lot of money, right? The only thing that surprised Lin Xiao was that there seemed to be no alchemy furnace here. I wonder what is going on with Li Tai, the alchemist. They don't even have an alchemy furnace, so they still have the nerve to call themselves alchemists. Li Tai didn't think too much. When he saw Lin Xiao's eyes on the bottles, he couldn't help but show pride on his face. Brother Lin, don't underestimate the things here. This is where I have worked hard for most of my life. You see, this is the spirit rejuvenating pill. Its main function is to restore spiritual power. The elementary spirit reviving pill can restore people below level 5. Those with superpowers can directly restore their spiritual power, the intermediate ones can directly restore their spiritual power to those below level 7, and the advanced ones can fully restore their spiritual power to those who are at level 9. Isn't it amazing? This is a special rejuvenation pill I made. As long as your arms and legs are not broken, any injuries on your body can be recovered immediately. And this is the spirit gathering pill, which can double the speed of absorbing surrounding spiritual energy in a short period of time. This is a realm-breaking elixir. Taking this elixir for people below level 7 can raise a level in a short time. However, it has side effects and will make you weak for a period of time after use. Following Li Tai's introduction, Lin Xiao's saliva couldn't help but flow down. These are some magical elixirs. Let's not talk about anything else. Just the ones Li Tai just mentioned, any one of them can be sold for a price that he can't even imagine. And there seem to be a lot of these elixirs here. Li Tai saw Lin Xiao's thoughts and didn't care. Brother Lin, don't worry. Since I asked you to test the medicine, I won't treat you badly. Every time you try a medicine on me, I will give you a bottle of the elixir here. Do you think it's okay? Lin Xiao didn't expect such benefits and almost couldn't hold back his laughter. Okay, then let's start now. There are not many elixirs that I don't know the effects of yet. There are about 8 or 9 kinds. Let's start with the lowest level. After Li Tai finished speaking, he took out some pills and put them on the table. He first picked up the most inconspicuous one and handed it to Lin Xiao. This is what I refined recently. According to the function of the medicinal herbs, this elixir should be used to increase qi strength. You can try it. Lin Xiao picked up the elixir and looked at it. He didn't feel anything was wrong. He worked hard to get the reward Li Tai gave him. Put the elixir directly into your mouth. Different from what he imagined, the elixir tasted very good, rock sugar and snow pear flavor. Lin Xiao even showed a hint of enjoyment on his face. But soon he felt the effect of the elixir, his muscles suddenly tightened, and blue veins popped out. At this moment, Lin Xiao felt that even if Shen Yao used spiritual skills, he might not be as strong as himself. Li Tai looked at Lin Xiao seriously. How do you feel? Lin Xiao felt it carefully before giving Li Tai feedback. Brother, you were right. This elixir can indeed double a person's strength. I think it is about 3 times. After receiving Lin Xiao's feedback, Zhou Tai frowned. Is it only 3 times? It's just so-so. It's much worse than I expected. Let's see how long it lasts. Lin Xiao, listen, is this what people say? Even with 3 times the increase in strength, Li Tai still felt that the effect was poor. The effect was already incredible, okay. After 3 minutes, Lin Xiao felt that he was back to normal and immediately gave feedback to Li Tai. 3 minutes, it's just so-so. It's a relatively decent elixir. Let's call it Dailywan. I understand, the next one. This second one was made by me by accident. I was distracted at the time and put the wrong herbs. Anyway, I thought it would be a good idea to keep it, so you can give it a try. Lin Xiao, brother, are you serious? Dare you let yourself eat the wrong herbs? Lu Jiao couldn't help laughing. Don't worry, I can't kill you as long as I'm here. Lin Xiao thought about it. He had a 9th level healing system as his backing, so he was afraid of being a dir. In order to get a few more bottles of elixirs, I fought hard. Lin Xiao no longer hesitated and took the elixir directly. It still tasted good, it was orange flavored. As soon as the elixir entered his mouth, Lin Xiao felt his stomach begin to churn. I couldn't hold it back and farted several times. Lin Xiao really wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl in. What's going on? I can't control myself at all. Li Tai and Lu Jiao immediately moved dozens of meters away from Lin Xiao and quickly opened the window to get some air. At the beginning, Lin Xiao was really afraid that he would accidentally poop his crotch, which would be embarrassing. Fortunately, apart from the constant exhaust, it did not cause him to lose his anus, which could be regarded as saving his last dignity. 5 minutes later, when Lin Xiao had completely calmed down and the smell had almost dissipated, Li Tai returned here. Ah, this is a useless pill. It's useless. It seems good for using to tease people. Let's call him a fart pill. Fortunately, there were only Li Tai and Lu Jiao at the scene. If there were people around, Lin Xiao would feel like he was socially dead. Looking at Lin Xiao's unkind eyes, Li Tai was also a little embarrassed. I asked you to test it because I didn't know the effects of the elixir. How about I give you 2 bottles of elixir this time? Lin Xiao's face immediately turned gloomy. He was joking, there was no real benefit in saving face. The elixir here is out there and could easily be sold for 1.8 million. So, why do I feel like my worldview has changed since I entered the nursing home? Now it feels like 1.8 million seems to be looked down upon. Did you drift off? For the next period of time, Lin Xiao helped Li Tai test the elixir. Lin Xiao also had to admit that Li Tai's attainments in elixirs were quite good. Among the next few pills, there were no pills that made people laugh or cry like the fart pill. I don't know if it was because Li Tai took care of Lin Xiao. Most of the elixirs he tried were relatively mild in nature. Lin Xiao had not encountered any elixirs that made him feel very uncomfortable. Lin Xiao couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth when he thought that he could pick some of these pills after the wait was over. Now there is only one last pill left on the table. Lin Xiao also focused on the elixir. This elixir looked no different from the previous ones. Lin Xiao was ready, but found that Li Tai had not handed him the elixir for a long time. What's wrong, Brother Li? Isn't this the last pill? Give it to me quickly. After the trial is over, I have to go back to rest. Li Tai did not answer Lin Xiao's question immediately. After a while, he slowly spoke. If this one doesn't work, let's forget it. Lin Xiao's heart tightened. Is there anything different about this pill? If he didn't try the elixir, he would lose a bottle of elixir, and he didn't want to give up this opportunity. But before trying the elixir, let's ask about the condition of this elixir. Brother Li, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with this pill? Isn't it a poison pill? Li Tai shook his head. Of course not. I am an alchemist, not a poison master. Naturally, I will not refine poisonous things. Although I occasionally refine some unreliable things, they will not kill people. The reason for my hesitation is that I don't know what the specific function of this pill is. Lin Xiao was stunned. You must have known that when he tried the elixirs before, Li Tai would have roughly guessed the effects of these elixirs. Facts also proved that Li Tai's guesses were accurate. This was the first time he said such uncertain words. This made Lin Xiao feel a little nervous. I said, Brother Li, how could you not know? Although I don't know anything about alchemy or the properties of elixirs, you at least know what herbs you are adding, right? In that case, you should also know what their effects are. Quote. That's where the problem arises. I drank the fragment that day. I refined this elixir under the condition of the fragment. I have no memory at all of how it was refined and what herbs were added to it. I only know that I will wait for the next time. When I woke up the next day, the elixir was successfully refined. Why don't you give it a try? I can guarantee that this is not a poisonous elixir. Lin Xiao. Backquote. What kind of weird operation is this? Do you dare to give yourself the elixir that was refined with fragments? He originally wanted to give it a try, but when Li Tai said this, he was a little undecided. Li Tai looked at the last pill, and finally seemed to have made some kind of determination. As long as Sister Zhao is here, there won't be any problem. You'd better give it a try. Lin Xiao also had a tangled look on his face. The memory of the fart pill from before was still fresh in his mind, and he didn't want to die again. I have tested a lot of elixirs before, and I should be able to get a lot of them, and this one seems to be the best one. Li Tai obviously noticed Lin Xiao's hesitation. He was originally worried that something would happen to Lin Xiao's body, so he thought about letting it go. However, he didn't even know the effects of the pill he refined. If he just gave up, he felt very uncomfortable. Try this elixir. After you know the effect, I will give you 3 bottles of elixir. Lin Xiao's eyes immediately lit up. Wouldn't it be better if you said this earlier? Brother Li, what you said is as if I am coveting your elixir. I definitely don't mean that. I just want to try what this elixir tastes like. Hehe, but 1 code equals 1 code. This one has 3 bottles. It can't be changed. After saying that, as if he was afraid that Li Tai would regret it, Lin Xiao directly picked up the pill and put it into his mouth. As soon as I put it in my mouth, I frowned. Grandma's, this elixir is actually durian flavored. He just doesn't like durian. After the elixir entered his mouth, it directly turned into a warm current and flowed into his body. Because he did not know the specific effects of the elixir, Lin Xiao also closely observed the changes in his body. But after waiting for a long time, there was no change at all. Li Tai had also been paying attention to Lin Xiao's situation, and was a little surprised to see that Lin Xiao didn't feel anything at all. It's impossible. Although I don't know what herbs were put in when the fragment was broken, when I woke up the next day, I found that several particularly precious herbs were missing, and there were many of them that even I only had 1. If you just take those herbs, you shouldn't have any reaction, right? In this way, Lin Xiao and Li Tai stared at each other for a long time. Just when Li Tai thought his elixir was exhausted, Lin Xiao suddenly fell straight to the ground. He kicked his feet, his eyes were wide open, and his body was twitching constantly. Lu Jiao was startled and immediately came to Lin Xiao's side. At the same time, she immediately used the healing technique on Lin Xiao. To Lu Jiao's surprise, the healing technique fell on Lin Xiao and had no effect. Lin Xiao kept twitching. Could it be that he was poisoned? Antitoxicity. Great recovery technique. Holy healing wind. Lu Jiao almost threw away all the spiritual skills she knew, but Lin Xiao's condition did not change in any way. Lu Jiao was also a little anxious this time. Li Tai, what on earth did you feed this guy? Li Tai also looked confused. It shouldn't be. Although he didn't know the effect of the pill, He was sure that it was not a poison pill, and even if it was a poison pill, Lu Zhao's detoxification technique should be able to cure it. Li Tai didn't want Lin Xiao to have any accidents, so he immediately came to Lin Xiao's side to check Lin Xiao's condition. If something really happened, I would be guilty. Sister Zhao, something is wrong. There doesn't seem to be any big problem with this kid. His vital signs are normal and the spiritual power fluctuations in his body are normal. There should be no big problem. Lu Zhao was worried and checked Lin Xiao's condition. She also got the same result as Li Tai. This also put her mind at ease. Now it seems that this may be a side effect of the elixir. What kind of pill did you give him? Leg stretching pills. Li Tai covered his face, not to mention stretching his legs to glare at Yanwan, which seemed quite appropriate. I really don't know. If I knew the effect of this elixir, I wouldn't let Shaolin try it. But even so, it shouldn't be like this. What exactly went wrong? Both of them were a little anxious, but they didn't know how to solve it. No, waiting like this is not an option. I'll call Shangguan Shi over. Maybe she can do something. Li Tai also felt that this could only be done. Lu Zhao was about to leave when he saw Lin Xiao suddenly reacted. Lu Zhao immediately stopped and looked at Lin Xiao with concern. Lin Xiao got up from the ground at this time. Before Lu Zhao could speak, Lin Xiao started talking to himself. Hello everyone, I am a trainee who has been practicing for 2.5 years. I like singing, dancing, rap and basketball. As he spoke, his body twisted unconsciously. Bobo chicken, Bobo chicken, Bobo chicken for 1 yuan. I want the sky to no longer be able to cover my eyes, I want the earth to no longer be able to bury my heart, I want to overthrow the sky. Break the darkness with thunder, I will be the last light in the darkness. Lu Zhao. Ing. Li Tai. Degree, huh? Are you sure the pill you gave him wasn't Zhongziwen? Is this kid going to be stupid? Li Tai was also a little unsure. Lin Xiao's behavior was really too off the mark. I don't know, but it probably won't happen. You have to know that when this elixir was refined, several top quality herbs were added to it, and 2 of them are still unique. Then how do you explain the current situation? This, that, hey, that's not right. This kid's actions now seem to be subconscious. He doesn't seem to be awake yet. Look at his eyes. When Lu Zhao said this, Li Tai also discovered this problem. Although Lin Xiao had his eyes open, his eyes were empty and lifeless, with no focus at all. Sister Zhao, what do you mean? This kid hasn't woken up yet. He should be fine when he wakes up. I'm not sure about this, so I'd better observe it first. The 2 of them were also afraid of something unexpected happening to Lin Xiao, so they decided to wait until Lin Xiao regained consciousness before talking. After Lin Xiao took the elixir, he didn't notice anything unusual. Before he could ask Li Tai, the elixir started to take effect. As soon as the elixir took effect, Lin Xiao lost control of his body. He fell directly to the ground. Lin Xiao's consciousness was actually awake, but he found that no matter what he did, he could not regain control of his body. At this moment, Lin Xiao wondered if he was about to be taken away. After all, he is considered the original owner of this body. For some unknown reason, although Lin Xiao's consciousness cannot control his body, he can feel everything that happens on his body. It was okay at first, just stretching his legs on the ground and staring. He also witnessed what happened next. This is the moment when I see my own social death with my own eyes. If he could control his body at this time, he really wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl into it. We can't continue like this, otherwise we will definitely be laughed at for the rest of our lives. Just when Lin Xiao was thinking about how to regain control of his body, his consciousness suddenly couldn't see the situation outside, but directly entered his body. He could see his heart beating and his blood flowing. He didn't know why this happened, but he thought it was all related to the pill he took. Afterwards, Lin Xiao found that his body seemed to be slowly changing. Some impurities are constantly discharged from his body. His skin also became unusually white. Before he had time to feel more, Lin Xiao felt that his consciousness became drowsy, and he could no longer feel the changes in himself. What Lin Xiao didn't know was that the elixir was not only changing his body, but also the DNA in his body seemed to be changing. As for what kind of changes it will bring in the end, we can only feel it after he wakes up completely. Lu Jiao and Li Tai closely observed Lin Xiao's changes. After discovering that Lin Xiao calmed down again after having a seizure, his body also began to discharge some impurities, and a stench even began to fill the room. Fortunately, the window was opened before, otherwise I would have been smoked to death here. What happens now? This should be the elixir taking effect. Zhao is removing impurities from the body. From this point of view, at least the effect of the elixir is positive. Hearing what Li Tai said, Lu Jiao breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Xiao's condition seemed to be slowly stabilizing. The two of them thought that Lin Xiao would wake up soon, but who knew that after more than 2 hours, Lin Xiao's pupils slowly became focused. Lin Xiao's consciousness finally returned to this body. At the first moment, he saw the concerned eyes of Lu Jiao and Zhou Tai. Sister Zhao, Brother Li, I'm fine and I feel very good. Don't worry. Seeing that Lin Xiao finally spoke normally and did not become stupid, Lu Jiao was completely relieved. Xiaolin, you scared my sister to death. At this time, Li Tai didn't care whether Lin Xiao was dirty or not, and came to Lin Xiao's side immediately. Xiaolin, please tell me what is the use of this elixir. Brother Li, don't worry, I want to feel it carefully. After saying that, Lin Xiao began to check his own changes. His first feeling was that his eyesight seemed to have gotten better, because his special power was enhanced vision. His eyesight was originally better than ordinary people, but now his eyesight seemed to be stronger than before, and he could even see some dust floating in the air. The second thing is that his brain is very clear, and he has straightened out many things that he could not figure out before. He also felt that his body had also undergone an upgrade, and his strength seemed to have improved to a higher level again. The specific details were unknown, but he felt that it should not be smaller than the improvement brought about by taking Dolly pill before. Hiss, what kind of elixir is this that actually gives me such a huge improvement? Lin Xiao immediately told Li Tai his feelings, and Li Tai also looked shocked. He was so confused that he actually refined such a miraculous elixir. Although he refined a lot of elixirs, most of them were short-term enhancement or restorative. It was rare to see a permanent improvement like Lin Xiao. But thinking about the herbs I put in, I felt a little relieved. It's a pity that he can't remember how he refined it. In addition, many very rare herbs were used to refine this elixir. Even he couldn't find a second one. Even if he knew the recipe, he might not be able to use it. Can be refined again. Are there any other changes? Thinking that his eyesight had become stronger again, Lin Xiao suddenly wanted to try his own powers. I'll give it a try, and it feels like some changes have occurred in my abilities. After Lin Xiao said that, he directly used his superpower to strengthen his eyesight. The first moment he used it, he was shocked. His superpower really changed. In addition to seeing more clearly and farther, he could even see the situation behind it, that is to say, his current vision can observe the surrounding situation at 360 degrees without blind spots. Lin Xiao, Nari summation, degree co degree. Roll your eyes. It's a pity that there is no chakra in this world, and I can't see the direction of the spiritual power. By the way, I won't awaken the blood chakra eye in the future, right? Suddenly, I was looking forward to my upgraded spiritual skills. Li Tai looked at Lin Xiao's shocked look, and he knew that Lin Xiao's powers might have mutated. How's it going? Has there been any change? I can't tell clearly, but I feel that my powers may have mutated or evolved. Lu Jiao and Zhou Tai looked at each other, not knowing how to explain such a thing. So far, there has never been any evolution of supernatural powers. Li Tai was the most anxious. This was the first time he heard that his powers could evolve. Explain it quickly. Lin Xiao immediately told Li Tai about the changes in his powers, and he also wanted to know what was going on. The knowledge of Lu Jiao and Li Tai was not comparable to his. After all, given their age, they must know more than him, and they might be able to give him answers. Li Tai pondered for a moment before speaking slowly. It's normal for your body to be strengthened. Although I can't remember the specific herbs I put in it, when I woke up, I was missing a dragon power immortal herb. I spent a lot of money to get this back then. Although the medicinal properties are mild, its effects can change a person's physique. The most important thing is that this enhancement is not a one-time thing. The higher your level, the greater the effect of dragon power immortal grass. Let's put it this way, although you are not a power type, your strength may not be much worse than that of a power type. You guys are so lucky. I actually got the Dragon Power Immortal Grass a long time ago, but I have never been willing to use it before. If I hadn't drank it, I might not have been willing to take it out. I didn't expect that I would be able to take advantage of you." Quote. Lin Xiao was overjoyed. In this case, he could be considered a dual-system awakener. The only pity is that I am simply strong, so it is impossible to possess power-based spiritual skills. What about my powers? Li Tai smiled bitterly. I can't explain this, because I only know a few ingredients in this elixir. I can't remember what I put in the rest. Why do you care so much? It's not a bad thing for you anyway. Quote. Lin Xiao thought about it. This is what happened. It's a pity. It would be great if Brother Li knew how to refine this kind of elixir. Li Tai naturally understood what Lin Xiao meant. The light power can strengthen this point, which is enough to change a lot of things. Lin Xiao's superpower is only F level. If an awakened person above a level, or even an SSS level, takes this elixir and their superpower evolves, what kind of strong person will be created? Oh, it's useless even if I know. It's not that simple to gather those herbs. I only have one of many herbs. If I hadn't been drunk that day, I wouldn't have been willing to use them. Thank you also, Brother Li. By the way, don't you have a new night vision skill? Let's see if there are any changes. Lin Xiao nodded quickly. He also wanted to see if the night vision had changed due to the upgrade of his powers. Lu Jiao turned off the laboratory lights directly. Several hours have passed since I started testing the elixir. The sky has completely darkened and the house is even darker. Lin Xiao immediately used his spiritual skill night vision. The surrounding scenery immediately became clear, and he could clearly see everything in the house. To his surprise, he could not only see clearly, but Lu Jiao and Li Tai's bodies were glowing red. In addition to the two people, there are several red lights in the laboratory, which are other life forms in the laboratory. 2 geckos, 3 spiders, and several mosquitoes, as long as they were living entities, were particularly obvious to him. My eyes have directly turned into a life detector. Sister Zhao, turn on the light. Lu Jiao turned on the light and looked at Lin Xiao eagerly. Lin Xiao told the two people about the changes in his powers. Fortunately, he had tried it before, otherwise he would not have known whether his night vision was always like this or had evolved along with it. Good boy, although I don't know what level your power is now, but its practicality has already killed many powers above level A. Lin Xiao was noncommittal. This power was indeed quite practical. The shortcomings were also very obvious, that is, it had no attack power. Okay, that's it for today. Shaolin is hungry. Let's go have dinner and have a good rest. There are still many things to be busy with tomorrow. Li Tai nodded, and that was exactly what he meant. I happen to be hungry too. Before that, Brother Lin, you should go take a shower. It stinks like hell. Only then did Lin Xiao realize that because his body excreted a lot of impurities, his body did smell a bit pungent. It's time to wash up. However, Lin Xiao did not leave immediately, but looked at Li Tai expectantly. Li Tai was a little confused. What are you waiting for if you don't leave? Brother Li, where's the promised reward? Only then did Li Tai realize that this boy had received such great benefits from him today, and he still wanted to get benefits. But yes, 1 code equals 1 code, and what should be given must still be given. Anyway, you can still refine these elixirs if you don't have them yourself. Okay, I tried 9 kinds of elixirs today, and I promised to give you 12 bottles. You can choose them yourself. I suggest you get some practical ones, don't just think about getting high-level ones. Lin Xiao curled his lips. Originally, he really wanted to get some high-level ones, but without him, the price of high-level ones was also high, you can sell it for a little more money. Now that Li Tai has spoken, he feels embarrassed. There is no shortage of money now, and some pills are good for self-defense. In the end, Lin Xiao selected some rejuvenation pills and the like. These pills might be used at some point. After finishing the selection, Lin Xiao went to take a shower with satisfaction. On the way to the shower, he felt the changes in his body again. After the secret realm assessment, he put on the weights again. Although it didn't affect his life before, he could still feel the weight. But it's different now. He can basically ignore those burdens. The physical fitness is indeed much stronger than before. Instead of going back to the dormitory, he took a shower in the gym of the nursing home, changed into new clothes, and went to the cafeteria. After arriving at the cafeteria, Lin Xiao did not dare to eat the high-level spiritual beast meat. He was a little tired today and did not want to practice more, so he just ordered the first and second level spiritual beast meat. He soon discovered that his body could fully withstand the energy of these spirit beast meats. This discovery surprised Lin Xiao. In order to test the limit of what he could bear now, he ordered third level and fourth level spiritual beast meat. He could still bear it at level 3. When he ate the meat of level 4 spiritual beasts, he felt the energy contained in it, but it was much docile compared to before. Before eating the meat of a fourth level spirit beast, he had to exercise for a long time to digest it. It seems that I will start eating spiritual beast meat at level 4 in the future. All this fell in the eyes of Lu Jiao and Li Tai. Both of them were shocked. Lin Xiao was only at level 1 now. He could directly eat the meat of level 4 spirit beasts without exercising and without Lu Jiao's help to neutralize the energy. What kind of monster did they create? Ah! The other old people who were eating also had their eyes shining. While Lin Xiao was taking a bath, Lu Jiao and Li Tai had already told others about Lin Xiao's changes. At first, everyone was a little disbelieving, but now they completely believed it. Some people who were not interested in Lin Xiao before suddenly wanted to try to contact Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao didn't know anything about all this, he just immersed himself in his work. But for some reason, I always feel that the sisters in the nursing home today always look at him with strange eyes. Although this happened before, it didn't seem to be so eager. He also knew why. After removing the impurities from his body, his skin became better and he became more handsome. The charm that has nowhere to be placed. Alas, it's all my fault, I accidentally became handsome again. After finishing the meal and saying hello to the old people who were still dining, Lin Xiao went back to his residence. After returning to his residence, he found that Sun Ziyuan had returned long ago. When Sun Ziyuan saw Lin Xiao coming back, he looked at Lin Xiao in surprise. From the loving family in the nursing home, he already knew the changes in Lin Xiao today. He never expected that after being separated for such a short time, Lin Xiao would evolve again. This was really an unexpected gain. You're so lucky, kid. You actually took such a heaven-defying elixir. Lin Xiao still feels a little dreamy. He really didn't expect that he was so lucky. Brother, I feel a little weird too. Oh, this is your life. Go to bed early. Starting from tomorrow, you may be busier. Lin Xiao naturally knew why Sun Ziyuan said this. In the past, only Sun Ziyuan trained him, and he was already very busy. Now, there are many more people who want to teach him skills. It doesn't take much to think about it. He knows that his life will definitely be better in the future. You will live a very fulfilling life. Lin Xiao didn't think much and just lay down on his bed. Although he was lying on the bed, it was not easy to fall asleep. Lin Xiao was still in a very excited state. Even in his wild thoughts, Lin Xiao didn't know when he would fall asleep. When I opened my eyes again, it was already early the next morning. It was Sun Ziyuan who woke him up. Although he didn't know why Sun Ziyuan woke him up so early, Lin Xiao didn't stay in bed and got up very quickly. After a simple wash, the two went out directly. At this time, the sky outside was still very dark. Lin Xiao looked at the time and saw that it was only 3 in the morning. Lin Xiao slept late yesterday and woke up early, but he didn't feel any tired. He didn't know if the effects of the pills he had taken before were still there, but he felt quite energetic anyway. Seeing Sun Ziyuan leading him towards the canteen, Lin Xiao finally couldn't help but speak. Brother, breakfast shouldn't be served in the cafeteria yet. Isn't it too early for us to go there? Sun Ziyuan smiled. Who told you that we were going to eat? Lin Xiao was stunned. If he wasn't going to eat, why would he go to the canteen? Aren't we going to the cafeteria? I'm going to the cafeteria, but not to eat. To cook. Lin Xiao. Cook. That's right. Didn't I tell you yesterday? Some old brothers want to pass on their cooking skills to you, and Song Ming's is one of them, so starting from today, you will come over every morning to learn cooking skills from Song Ming's. Noon and evening you have other arrangements for your time, so you can come over and learn cooking skills from now on. Lin Xiao didn't have any objections to this. Song Ming's was a state banquet-level chef. When he thought about the taste of the food he had eaten in the nursing home, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. After just eating here for a week, he felt that the ordinary meals before were a bit difficult to eat. If you can learn Song Ming's craftsmanship, you don't have to worry about being hungry in the future. The most important thing is that if you learn this craft and open a restaurant outside, won't that bring you a lot of money? The two arrived at the cafeteria quickly and found that Song Ming's had been waiting for them. Sun Ziyuan sent Lin Xiao here and left. He has no interest in cooking, so instead of staying here, he might as well go back and catch up on his sleep. Song Ming saw Lin Xiao coming and waved to him, and Lin Xiao immediately came over. Brother Song, please take good care of me in the future. It's easy to say, but don't worry. I still want to see if you have talent in cooking first. If you don't have talent, I won't waste more time on you. Have you cooked before? When I worked part-time in the past, I worked as a cook in a restaurant, and I would also cook some simple meals. After all, cooking it yourself is much more cost-effective than buying it from outside. That's it, you have some basic knowledge. Come to the kitchen with me first. After Song Ming's finished speaking, he led the way. Lin Xiao quickly followed, and the two of them soon arrived at the kitchen of the canteen. It had been some time since he came to the nursing home, and this was the first time Lin Xiao came to the kitchen of the cafeteria. Lin Xiao originally thought that there were just some simple ingredients here, but when Lin Xiao came to the kitchen, he still knew that he was superficial. In the kitchen, there were indeed a lot of ingredients on display, but except for a few vegetables he recognized, the others were some spiritual herbs he didn't recognize, and some corpses of spiritual beasts that looked very fresh. I don't know where these spirit beast corpses came from. What left him speechless the most was that some of the corpses of these spiritual beasts were very large, and some were at least several meters high. Seeing Lin Xiao's inexperienced look, Song Ming's felt a little funny. Don't make such a fuss. Those are all spiritual beasts at level 6 or 7. It's normal for them to be larger in size. Ignore that for now. Just make me a dish first and I'll see your basic skills. Lin Xiao didn't think much about it. The tools here were very complete. After thinking about it, he decided to fry some shredded potatoes. He moved very quickly and quickly selected the materials. Pick up the potatoes, peel them skillfully, and wash them. Then I picked up the kitchen knife and started shredding. When Lin Xiao worked as a kitchen assistant, what he did most was washing and chopping vegetables, so he didn't feel any discomfort when doing this, and even felt a little friendly. While shredding potatoes, he discovered that his good eyesight was showing again. His hands are very steady and he can ensure that the length and size of his potato shreds are perfect. Seeing this, Song Ming's also had a flash of surprise in his eyes. Even though Lin Xiao was preparing to cook just simple shredded potatoes, the simpler the meal, the more it can reflect a person's cooking skills. Let's just say that these shredded potatoes should be cut into even sizes to make them taste better when fried. If the length and thickness of the cuts are different, it will affect the taste of the food. From now on, it seems that Lin Xiao's knife skills have no problem. After preparing the ingredients, Lin Xiao started to heat the oil in the pot. After watching it for a while, Song Ming stopped looking. He already had a certain understanding of Lin Xiao's situation. The knife skills are good, but the rest is not so good. But you can't blame Lin Xiao for this, he probably didn't study systematically, at least he still has talent. Okay, that's it. I know almost everything about you. Starting from tomorrow, you can officially come here to study. I still recognize your talent. Lin Xiao. Degree. You know you are talented. A new day starts with learning cooking skills. Wrong. Song Ming said that he would start formally learning cooking from tomorrow, which puzzled him. He had already come here today, why should he start from tomorrow? Brother Song, why do you have to start tomorrow? What should I do today? Song Ming's knew that Lin Xiao had misunderstood. Actually, it's not a bad idea to start learning from today. The main reason is that your foundation is too poor now. Look at the ingredients in my kitchen. How many do you know? How do you mix these ingredients? Which foods cannot be put together? This is yours. I don't know much about it, so you have to start with theoretical knowledge. Lin Xiao understood that this was what happened. So, bro, how do I learn these theoretical knowledge? Song Ming smiled and took out 2 thick books from the space ring and handed them to Lin Xiao. This is the information I compiled myself. As long as you remember all the knowledge here, you'll be good to go. Lin Xiao looked at the 2 thick books and was speechless. Is this too embarrassing for him? There are so many things that I have to remember, I'm afraid I can't read them all in 3 or 2 days, right? You don't need to read it all at once. Let's start with the basics. I'll teach you as you learn. You read the book first. It's almost time. I'm going to prepare breakfast for today. You study hard and make it for so many people every day. Fan, I'm very tired too. If you can help me, I'll be able to relax a little bit. Lin Xiao nodded, knowing that he might not be of much help now, so he quietly found a corner to read. 2 books, one is the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Herbs and the other is the Encyclopedia of Spiritual Beasts. Lin Xiao first picked up the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Herbs and read it. After turning the first page, Lin Xiao was attracted by the content above. What is recorded here is not the effect of these herbs, but a detailed introduction on how to make these herbs more delicious, what are the taboos, and what to pair them with to taste more delicious. It also comes with photos of medicinal herbs, making it very convenient for Lin Xiao to learn. Of course, this was not what surprised Lin Xiao the most. What surprised him most was that he just glanced at the content above, and the content on the book seemed to be engraved in his mind. It is said that the best plan for the day begins in the morning. Isn't this effect a little too good? He is relatively confident in his memory. After all, he is always ranked first in grade, which is also related to his excellent memory. But now this effect seems to be a bit too exaggerated. Could it be that yesterday's elixir also had an effect on improving my memory? In order to verify his conjecture, Lin Xiao continued to look through the pages. Soon he was shocked by his amazing memory. When reading these books, he could read 10 lines at a glance. Whatever he read would be deeply remembered in his mind. Do you have a photographic memory? In order to verify his conjecture, Lin Xiao quickly read through an encyclopedia of medicinal herbs. Then he quickly ran through the information in his mind. It turns out that, just as he thought, he now really has a photographic memory. Lin Xiao was certain that he had never been able to do this before, so all this could only be due to the pill he took yesterday. Originally, he wanted to share his joy with Song Ming's, but when he saw that Song Ming's was busy, he chose to shut up. Then he picked up another encyclopedia of spiritual beasts and started to read through it. Because of his photographic memory, it didn't take him long to memorize the contents of both books. Bored, he began to watch Song Ming's cooking. At this time, Song Ming's was holding a long knife and dismantling a 7th-level monster beast, the sawtooth sky-eating pig. The information about this kind of spiritual beast was recorded in the book I had read before. The sawtooth sky-swallowing pig is extremely ferocious. It is also a relatively powerful existence among spiritual beasts of the same level. It is also an extremely high-quality delicacy. It is a bit troublesome to handle. The bones are very hard and it is not easy to separate the bones and flesh. Lin Xiao was just thinking about the information about the sawtooth sky-swallowing pig when Song Ming's moved and swung the long knife in his hand quickly. The sawtooth sky-swallowing pig was separated from its perfect flesh and bones in a short time. Lin Xiao was stunned for a moment, but he knew that Song Ming's was the awakened person of the fire element. But even an ordinary 7th-level awakened person wouldn't be able to withstand the sword technique of dismantling the sawtoothed sky-devouring pig. Sure enough, those who can stay in a nursing home, even if they are just ordinary cooks, cannot be ordinary people. Song Ming's performance was so wonderful that Lin Xiao couldn't help but applaud. Song Ming's was a little unhappy when he heard the noise here. You brat, how long have you been reading this book before you become lazy? Lin Xiao showed a wicked smile and moved out of the way. I'm going to start pretending. Brother Song, I'm not lazy. I've already finished studying the contents of these 2 books. Song Ming's frowned. From the time he wrote to Lin Xiao to now, it had only been an hour at most. Lin Xiao actually said that he had finished studying these 2 books. He absolutely didn't believe it. You brat, it's not a good habit to aim too high. Lin Xiao knew that no matter how much he explained, it would be better to let Song Ming's test him. Brother, I have really finished my studies. If you don't believe me, give me a test. Seeing Lin Xiao's confident look, Song Ming's was a little undecided. He picked up an herb and before he could speak, Lin Xiao answered. Xuanyang flower has a bitter taste. After being cooked with special techniques, it will produce a unique sweetness. It is the best choice for making cold dishes. Song Mings was stunned. This boy was really right. He remembered the position of Xuanyang flower in the middle of the book. Could it be that this boy had really remembered it all? Next, Song Mings asked Lin Xiao to identify several herbs and spiritual beasts, and Lin Xiao answered them fluently. He was really surprised. You brat, have you learned this before? Lin Xiao would naturally not let go of this opportunity to show off. No, I have never studied, I just have a photographic memory. When Song Ming saw Lin Xiao's expression, he didn't know what to say. I originally wanted to teach this kid step by step, but I didn't expect Lin Xiao to be such a monster. I didn't expect you to learn so quickly. In that case, let's learn some simple cooking with me first. After that, Song Mings began to teach Lin Xiao some simple dishes. In order for Lin Xiao to observe more carefully, Song Mings would cook them first and show them to Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao learns very quickly. As long as Song Mings does it once, he can almost copy it perfectly. This gave Song Mings a new understanding of Lin Xiao's learning ability. What a terrifying learning talent. Song Mings knew that he had found a treasure. He originally thought that Lin Xiao could learn 70% of his skills, and he would have a successor. Now it seems that Lin Xiao is very suitable to inherit his mantle and even surpass himself. This is when this kid is also studying other things. It was so smart to keep him around then. Breakfast was prepared quickly, and Lin Xiao helped a lot, which really made Song Mings feel a lot more relaxed. The rest is the responsibility of Shuqing and other staff. Song Mings is only responsible for cooking, and other things do not require him to do it himself. After all, he is also a staff member of the nursing home, and he is responsible for the food in the nursing home, all because of his own hobbies. After Shuqing saw Lin Xiao, the envy in her eyes could not be concealed. She has been in the nursing home for such a long time. It's not that there are no old people who want to teach her some skills, it's that she has no talent. In the end, he just learned the skills of using thunder powers from the old man of the thunder system. He was not as favored as Lin Xiao. Incomparable, incomparable. After that, elderly people came over for dinner one after another, and Lin Xiao naturally also had some breakfast. Sun Ziyuan found him quickly and went back to sleep. After breakfast, Lin Xiao had other arrangements that he needed to take with him. Lin Xiao was paying attention to the reactions of the old people at this time. Many of today's breakfasts were completed by him under the guidance of Song Mings. At the beginning, Lin Xiao was a little worried. He was also worried that what he couldn't make would not be to the liking of those old people. He quickly dispelled this doubt. At least until now, no one has tasted the difference in taste. Song Mings was very calm. As soon as Lin Xiao finished cooking, he tasted it. From a master like him, he could still feel the subtle differences between Lin Xiao's cooking and his cooking. But so what? This is the first time Lin Xiao has done this. To be able to do this is already considered a gift. After breakfast, Lin Xiao was taken away by Sun Ziyuan. Not only the two of them, but also other members of the nursing home did not leave after breakfast. After the two left, they all followed. This made Lin Xiao feel unusual again. Didn't you say that starting from today, you will teach yourself some knowledge? Even if it is for teaching, there is no need for so many people to come, right? Are you ready to teach yourself together? In that case, even if I were a Superman, I might not be able to keep busy. Sun Ziyuan did not explain, and the group quickly arrived at their destination. Lin Xiao soon understood why these old people followed him. In front of him was an inconspicuous-looking stone. Seeing the stone, Lin Xiao immediately had information about the stone in his mind. This is the awakening stone. The awakening stone has two functions. One is to help people who fail to awaken on their own to awaken, and the other is to test the awakened person's power level. As soon as he saw the awakening stone, Lin Xiao knew why so many people were following him. I guess I knew my powers had been upgraded and wanted to see what level my powers were. Lin Xiao is also very curious about this. He also wants to know what level his superpower is now. In his opinion, no matter how bad it is now, it is still an A level. Xiao Lin, go ahead and inject spiritual power into it. Let's see what level your powers are now. Lin Xiao nodded and came directly to the awakening stone. Testing your own power level is very simple, just inject your own spiritual power into it. There is an engraved line on the awakening stone, which marks the level of the superpower. The final position where the engraved line stops represents the level of the superpower. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xiao placed his hand on the awakening stone. I vaguely remember the memory of the original owner. Of course, the original owner was full of hope in awakening a not too bad power. After all, before him, Lu Ruyan had already been tested for A-level powers. If he wanted to match Lu Ruyan, his powers couldn't be too stretched. Unfortunately, in the end, the original owner only awakened F-level powers, and he was sad for a long time. With the injection of spiritual power, Lin Xiao stared closely at the engraved line. What surprised him was that no matter how crazy he injected spiritual power, the lines on the awakening stone remained unmoved. Isn't it? Who can tell him what happened? Could it be that my own abilities have not been upgraded? Still downgraded. Can't even reach F level. The unusual behavior here also attracted the attention of those old people. There was no master below level 7 present. He had already felt the fluctuations of spiritual power from Lin Xiao's body, and naturally knew that Lin Xiao had injected spiritual power into the awakening stone. Why doesn't the awakening stone react at all? What's going on? Is this awakening stone broken? I don't know. I've lived for so long and I've never seen the awakening stone break. Then who can explain to me what is going on now? Sun Ziyuan was closest to Lin Xiao. When Lin Xiao looked at him with confused eyes, he didn't know what was going on. He also placed his hand on the awakening stone, and then injected a ray of spiritual power into it. The awakening stone soon lit up with a dazzling light, and the engraved line continued to move upwards, finally stopping at the SS level. It is only a few inches away from the SSS level, which shows that Sun Ziyuan's superpower is exactly the SS level. Sun Ziyuan frowned. The awakening stone was not broken. Boy, try again. Lin Xiao nodded and placed his hand on the awakening stone again. This time he increased his spiritual power output. However, there are no eggs. No matter how much he outputted his spiritual power, awakening stone showed no reaction at all. After trying again and again, Lin Xiao gave up and looked at the old man present with a blank expression. Would any brother or sister please explain to me what is going on now? The scene also fell silent. These people present were all the top people in China. But this is really the first time I've seen this happen. No one could explain why. Finally a somewhat slovenly-looking man stood up. Everyone's eyes fell on the man, waiting for his answer. Lin Xiao knew that this person, Cao Bo, had an 8th level SS level light system. Although his abilities were very powerful, he didn't care much about his own cultivation. Instead, he liked to study other things. The weight-bearing material on his body was researched by the person in front of him. This is the first time I have encountered this situation, but in my opinion, there are only two explanations. Shaolin also said that he felt that his powers had been upgraded, and his spiritual skills were stronger than before. Quite a few. It was F level before, so that rules out the idea that Xiaolin's powers have no level. The first is that Xiaolin's abilities have mutated after upgrading, making the awakening stone unable to feel his abilities and spiritual power, so it cannot give a rating. Another possibility is that Xiaolin's superpower may have exceeded the SSS level, which means it has exceeded the limit of awakening stone power evaluation. I personally prefer the first one. After all, it is too fantasy to go beyond the SSS level, and Xiaolin's spiritual skills don't seem to exceed the SSS level. Quote. When Cao Bo explained it like this, everyone present felt that that was pretty much it. They also believed that it was the reason for the mutation of Lin Xiao's powers. It's a pity that they can't know what level Lin Xiao's power is now. They are just too curious. Lin Xiao also accepted this result, and there was nothing he could do if he didn't accept it. But I didn't like hearing this. What if my superpower really is an unprecedented existence beyond the 3S level? It's been said that it is possible. What if even the awakening stone cannot test Lin Xiao's current power level? The elderly in the nursing home are inevitably a little disappointed. But this also means that Lin Xiao's future is full of infinite possibilities. Slowly, most of the old people dispersed, leaving only one one-armed old man on the scene. This was Shano, who was about to teach Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao also knew what was waiting for him next, so he immediately went over to greet Shanuo. "Brother Sha, will you teach me next?" Shanuo nodded, with some helplessness in his eyes. "Hey, come with me. I don't know if your kid is too popular. I only have an hour. There are people queuing up behind me to teach you. Let's hurry up and not waste time." Lin Xiao nodded. He still respected Shanuo. It is said that the reason why Shanuo's arm was disabled was because he killed a 9th-level strong man outside the country during a mission. Now Lin Xiao still has some questions. Shano seems to be a sniper. How is he going to teach him? Isn't there a shooting range in this nursing home? Jean's idea was soon verified. There was indeed a shooting range in the nursing home, and it covered a large area. But this area is a restricted area, and I have never been here before. Seeing Lin Xiao's shocked eyes, Shanuo also smiled. "Boy, don't be so surprised. Many of the people living in our nursing home have served in the military. Many people come here to shoot a few shots and relax when they have nothing to do. It is not strange to have a shooting range in a nursing home." Quote. Lin Xiao shocked face carrot back quote, "Oh. There is really nothing wrong with this reason. Brother Sha, I won't feel weird about anything in our nursing home now. Even though this is a villa area, there are frequent gunshots. Wouldn't it make people feel weird? You've been in the nursing home for a while. Did you hear the gunshots?" Lin Xiao was stunned for a moment. He had never heard the sound of gunshots. Haha, special soundproofing materials were used when building this place. Not to mention the sound of gunfire. Even if you fire cannons here, no one will be able to hear the sound. If you don't mention this, what do you have for snipers? What's your opinion? Lin Xiao was stunned. He really hadn't thought about this problem. In the original world, snipers were too far away for him, but in this world, it was a world where spiritual energy was revived and everyone had superpowers. He subconsciously ignored the role of thermal weapons. "I've never been exposed to these things, so I don't know how to talk about it." Shanuo was not surprised by Lin Xiao's answer. "Then let me tell you about my knowledge. Let me talk about my knowledge about firearms first. There is a saying that is true. A gun is fast from 7 steps, and a gun is fast and accurate within 7 steps. Don't underestimate the power of thermal weapons. Even a level 9 expert can be killed by a thermal weapon without any defense." Lin Xiao understood that, as Shanuo said, thermal weapons are still effective at certain times. "Brother, did you kill the 9th-level strongman with one hit when the opponent was unprepared?" Shanuo probably didn't expect Lin Xiao to ask this question. "That's not true. Half and half. Half of them were killed by me without defense, and the other half were on the battlefield. The opponent couldn't be defenseless at all. I know what you are thinking. I have special equipment and bullets, level 9. Even if a strong person is fully defensive, I can still break through the defense. You may not be able to access this now, so you should start with the most basic ones. Do you know why I am the first to teach you?" Quote. Is it because of my powers? Lin Xiao felt that his abilities made him really suitable for becoming a sniper. "That's right, it's precisely because of your superpowers that your superpowers are more suitable to become a qualified sniper than mine. My sniper skills are practiced by myself. The musical superpowers are very useful for discovering enemies around me. It also helps, but compared with your enhanced vision, you are more blessed. Time is tight and the tasks are heavy. You have never touched a firearm, so let's practice it first." Lin Xiao naturally had no objection. There is no man who is not interested in firearms. Soon he discovered that there were 3 weapons on the table in front of him: a pistol, a rifle, and a sniper rifle. Shanuo did not let Lin Xiao try it immediately, but told him how to use the 3 guns. Lin Xiao was not a stupid person, and he quickly learned the key points of using the 3 types of guns. "When I first started, I would definitely hit the most basic fixed target." Shanuo first gave Lin Xiao a demonstration. Although one arm was broken, Shanuo's hand was still extremely steady, and every shot hit the target. After that, Lin Xiao started to try, and the first thing he tried was a pistol. Shanuo was not there to guide him. He wanted to see how far Lin Xiao could go on his own. Lin Xiao was not timid. After getting ready, he activated his spiritual skills as soon as possible. The target that was already very clear in his eyes was enlarged again and clearly displayed in front of his eyes. After looking at the pistol in his hand, he remembered what Shano had said and started to operate it. Soon he fired the first bullet. Because it was his first attempt, it was impossible to hit the bullseye directly. This shot only hit 7 rings. Shano was very satisfied with Lin Xiao's performance. He could see that Lin Xiao had never been exposed to firearms before, and it was already very good to hit the 7th ring for the first time. Just as he was about to give some guidance to Lin Xiao had already fired his second shot. The trajectory of the bullet was very smooth, and this time it hit the 9th ring directly. Lin Xiao frowned. He thought that this shot would hit the 10th ring, and he soon found out the reason. Without any hesitation, he continued to pull the trigger. The remaining 6 rounds were fired, and the gun hit 10 rings. After shooting all 8 bullets, Lin Xiao looked at Shan Nuo. He could see the shock on Shan Nuo's face. It seemed that even Shan Nuo was a little surprised by his performance. How could Shano not be shocked? He knew that Lin Xiao's abilities were very suitable for being a sniper, but he didn't expect Lin Xiao to perform so well. He performed so well in his first shot, which was beyond his knowledge. He quickly hid his expression. Although this kid was a good young man, he couldn't be too proud. Performing well, let's try the rifle next. This time Shanuo didn't even give Lin Xiao a demonstration. Lin Xiao directly picked up the rifle without thinking too much. After feeling that it was about the same, Lin Xiao directly pulled the trigger. As soon as he fired, Lin Xiao felt something was wrong. The recoil of a rifle was completely different from that of a pistol. Although he reacted later and offset the recoil, the result of the shot was still not good. In the end, he barely missed the target and only hit the target. Hit the ring. A smile immediately appeared on Shano's face. This kid doesn't think target shooting is a simple matter. But Lin Xiao's next performance quickly solidified his smile. Lin Xiao just made some adjustments to get used to the recoil of the rifle, and then started firing directly. In the 30-round magazine, except for the first round which had 1 ring, all the others had 10 rings. Sano. N. summation, degree co degree. Did you pick up a treasure? Is this guy's talent a bit too evil? People who touch guns all year round may not have the stability of Lin Xiao. After Lin Xiao finished shooting the rifle, Shanuo could only think about. But he was still tough on his words and simply praised Lin Xiao. Not bad, far worse than I have been in many years. Only Shano knew how much effort he had put in to achieve his current achievements, and this kid seemed to be born specifically to be a sniper. After his own training, this kid may become a being more powerful than himself. Thinking of this, Shano couldn't help but reveal a happy smile on his face. He had a broken arm, and even if Lu Jiao was a 9th-level healer, it would be impossible for him to regenerate his broken arm. Although Cao Bo was developing a robotic arm for him, it was not as useful as his own arm. This means that he may no longer be the feared sharpshooter he once was. If this kid can successfully take over his class, it would be a good choice. Finally, there is the sniper rifle. The accuracy of the sniper rifle is undoubtedly the highest. Lin Xiao did not have any surprises. The fixed target has all 10 rings. Lin Xiao was very satisfied with his performance. He also saw that Shanuo's words were not sincere. Although he didn't praise him much, the admiration in his eyes was overflowing. He is indeed a genius. Lin Xiao once again saw the horror of the pill he took yesterday. Although he thought he had a good academic talent, it was definitely impossible to achieve what he did now. This must be related to the pill I took yesterday. Brother Shaw, I feel like I've almost mastered the fixed target. What do you think we should learn next? Shanuo looked at the sky speechlessly. What he actually prepared today was to let Lin Xiao learn to fix the target. In his opinion, even if Lin Xiao is extremely talented, it will take him a few days to adapt. Sharpshooters are all fed with bullets, but this doesn't seem to apply to Lin Xiao. He didn't expect Lin Xiao to be such a pervert. He had almost learned it before he even taught him much. Sometimes students are too evil, as if I am not a good thing. Then let's practice on the moving target. You practice on your own first, and I'll give you some advice from the side. Under Shanuo's control, the targets on the field began to move, and Lin Xiao began to practice. Originally, Sha Nuo thought that if he didn't provide guidance, Lin Xiao wouldn't be able to master the skills so quickly, but he found that he still underestimated Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao's spiritual skills also have another effect, that is, when the vision enhancement is turned on, the speed of objects will slow down. The target that Shano set up at the beginning was not moving very fast, and in Lin Xiao's eyes it was even slower. Lin Xiao didn't rush to shoot. After observing the movement of the target for a while, he started shooting. This time it was even more outrageous. Lin Xiao's spear hit 10 rings and there was no need to adjust. Sha Nuo did not believe in evil and began to speed up the movement of the target. Finally, he adjusted the speed of the target to the fastest, and Lin Xiao was still able to hit it. After emptying the bullets, Lin Xiao looked at Sha Nuo innocently. "Man, I feel like we can start on the next one. Sano, what should I do if I'm a little bit shocked?" "Emo, don't be complacent, kid. These are just the basics. Although the target is moving, it is too big and the movement trajectory is fixed. Next, we will train small objects for a regular shooting training." Then Shano found some small balls and turned on the wind facility at the shooting range. This shooting range is specially designed, adding many uncertain factors. "I'll throw these little balls, and you'll hit them." Lin Xiao was a little disapproving. Although the ball was not big, it was almost the same as the 10 rings of a bull's eye. If it was thrown, it would have a trajectory to follow. The only thing that gives him a headache may be the irregular wind in the venue. Lin Xiao was still thinking when Shano threw the first ball. Lin Xiao's eyes immediately focused on the ball. He soon felt something unusual. The ball was not thrown casually, it had a strong spin. In this way, it is not that simple for Lin Xiao to calculate the trajectory. When he was almost done with his calculations, the ball was about to hit the ground. Without any time to think, he fired directly. Lin Xiao felt the shot was coming as soon as he fired, but to his surprise, the shot he was bound to win failed. His calculation was actually correct. It was the wind in the stadium that changed the position of the ball. Seeing that Lin Xiao's bullets were empty, Sha Nuo was secretly happy. If this kid was hit again, he wouldn't know what to teach this kid. He came to teach Lin Xiao, not to be provoked by Lin Xiao. "Xiao Lin, don't be discouraged. In fact, your performance is already very good." Lin Xiao also came to his senses at this time. "Brother Sha, I'm not discouraged. I'm just thinking about where the problem lies. It's a good thing to know how to reflect. Stop now, you can't just practice. I also want to tell you some theoretical knowledge. There are many factors that affect sniping. You have to consider many issues. Sunlight, wind direction, wind speed, etc. will all affect the accuracy of the final shot. Different firearms have different initial velocity, effective range, and ballistics of bullets, so they must be debugged in advance before use. Finally, there are many uncontrollable factors that must be taken into consideration. In short, as a qualified sniper, it is best to kill with one shot. Otherwise, your position will be exposed and the other party will be on guard, and the chance of shooting again will be very low. Much smaller." Quote. Lin Xiao nodded. The reason why he failed just now was because he only considered the trajectory of the ball and forgot about the influence of external forces. "I know, Brother Sha, now you can teach me how to control these factors." Sha Nuo was very happy to see that Lin Xiao was not complacent because of his good performance. Next, he told Lin Xiao what to pay attention to. Lin Xiao also understood everything at first glance. When the explanation was almost finished, the rest was just practice. What surprised Sha Nuo was that Lin Xiao just listened to some of his stories and immediately applied it. Although it is still not possible to hit the target with a single shot, it can hit 7 or 8 out of 10 shots. Sha Nuo was speechless and choked. In the face of genius, sometimes hard work is really worthless. Finally, when it was almost time, Shano gave Lin Xiao some books about firearms and let him leave. After all, Lin Xiao still had other things to learn, and he also had to think carefully about what he would teach Lin Xiao in the next class. In an hour, Lin Xiao finished learning what he planned to teach for a month. If he wanted to teach this guy again, he would have to show some real skills. It's a headache. Sometimes students are too smart, which is also a worry. Lin Xiao walked out of the shooting range and found that someone had been waiting for him. Zhu Ming, the man with 1,000 faces, is the one who is good at disguise. It seems that this is my next teacher. Lin Xiao is also quite interested in pretending, but he is just interested. After all, in this world where you can become another person just by putting on makeup, it doesn't seem to be a strange ability for a person to have many faces. Eastern witchcraft is not a name for nothing. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.